Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Sunday, January 5th, 2014. This is episode 1046. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, all that jazz. Heather Hammond, the Phone Ranger, is here in her Flintstones vests. Looks like you killed a dinosaur for that.
Yeah.
A saber-toothed tiger, a pterodactyl.
Yes, that.
Hello, Heather Hammond. And you got what? You got the tooth. So that you knew knowingly we're doing this.
You know, I really wanted to dress all 49ers today, but I own so little red.
We have a big game a little later on.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I have changed the background colors. You know, Burke, this camera one is not. You probably know that, right? All right. I just wanted to show you my background colors. It's 49ers red. I need gold. I don't have a gold.
It makes me want to belt out a certain song. Come on, you know it, and I bet you can do it really well.
49ers.
Roxanne.
Roxanne.
The red light.
Oh, you don't have to turn on. Yeah, okay. 8888 Ask Leo. That is the number, first weekend of 2014. Here we are in a brand new world. It's exactly like the same old world, except it's colder. What were the big revelations of 2013? We already talked about Google Glass. We already talked about Instagram and Snapchat. Next year, what's the big thing going to be? Maybe the Apple iWatch. Everybody thinks the iWatch will be the thing. What are you doing in there, Burke? Are you just going to take the whole camera out there? It's okay. This is a radio show. What do we need cameras for? Some people don't know that we stream live video of this, just like Howard Stern and Dan Patrick and others. We have a video studio, so you could watch. I don't know why anybody would watch a radio show, frankly. It's just somebody's talking. But maybe for you, because you're so lovely and you have your caveman outfit on. Maybe for Heather.
It's great to see the behind the scenes. Yeah. And we've got a studio audience today. Like, they want to see it, obviously, I think.
So tomorrow I'm flying. Actually, tonight I'm flying to Vegas.
Oh, that's right.
For the, I'm actually going for the New Media Expo, which is, they've cleverly moved to right before the show formerly known as the Consumer Electronics Show, hoping that people will come to the Consumer Electronics Show and just come a little early for New Media Expo. But it is a little bit smaller than CES, but it is a fun show for people who do internet broadcasting like we do. I'll be speaking there tomorrow. And then I'm leaving because I don't want to stick around for International CES. Because that's crazy. International CES, you probably heard about it. In fact, when I started doing this show, this is our 10th anniversary weekend. The very third and fourth show I did were from the Consumer Electronics Show. Crazy, crazy show. Almost 200,000 technology-crazed. You know, actually, I shouldn't say that because they're not, the people who go to the Consumer Electronics Show are, in fact, not necessarily geeks. It's designed for dealers. They go to CES. Maker Matt, are you going to CES? Are you on your way to CES to show off?
Back to Beijing.
Oh, you're going back to Beijing. All right. Because CES is the kind of place you'd go. These guys make really cool mats with company logos and stuff for you know, unscrewing stuff and taking stuff apart and things like that. And typically, that's the kind of place you go to CES, and you have a little booth. A lot of Chinese companies there. In fact, there's a whole Chinese hall. There's Shenzhen Alley. It's just like on and on and on. And they go and they bring their products, and then dealers come from mostly the U.S., but I would guess all over the world, and then look at these products, and they make a deal going, well, I'd like 3,000 units of those or whatever. Sometimes people go to CES, a lot of the big manufacturers go to CES with potential products they're thinking about selling, and they say, would you buy this? Or products that they plan to produce in the fall, and they say, would you pre-order this? So as a journalist going to CES, you have to make the distinction between stuff that actually exists, stuff that's going to exist, and stuff that will never exist. And it's hard sometimes. It's very hard. But what we do when we go to CES is we look for what's the next big thing. And we talked yesterday to our home theater guy, Scott Wilkinson. He'll be down there covering it for us. And he says that in televisions, CES is big for TV. In televisions, we're going to look for a lot of these new super high resolution, they call them Ultra HD TVs. They're already in the market, and there'll be lots more of those. Because, you know, the HD manufacturers are trying to figure out how to get you to buy another TV set. Darn it. You seem so happy with your existing TV set. Wouldn't you like something better? They tried 3D, didn't really move the market, didn't move the needle. So now Ultra HD. And they're also looking at a new technology called OLED. And I have an OLED TV because I was curious. And we've seen these for a while, but they haven't been able to get the screens big enough. Now they are. They're 55 inches. I think we'll see even more. So expect to see these new technologies. But is that going to change your purchase decision tomorrow? No. We're talking fall, probably, right? I don't expect a lot of surprises, frankly. iBeacon might be an interesting story there. This is Bluetooth LE, Bluetooth Low Energy. And Apple surprised us all last month by saying every iOS device produced since the iPhone 4S has the capability of being an iBeacon. That is, it can be a broadcasting device, broadcasting information to other iBeacon Bluetooth LE devices. Just a couple of buttons, a couple of lines of code, and boom, all of a sudden you're beaconing. The idea is, and I expect we'll see iBeacon all over the hall at CES, is as you approach a booth, the iBeacon wakes up and says, hello, Leo. Take this press kit, whether you want it or not. And now it's all on my phone. Thank you. That's wonderful. You could do it at a museum. You're now standing in front of the famed Mona Lisa. You could do it at a store. You like these sneakers? I got a whole lot more in the back. There's lots of ways we could use iBeacon, and I think this will be a Bluetooth LE show in many ways. LE is cool. I got for Christmas something called the Anki Drive, which is kind of like slot car racing without the slots. They're little slot car style cars. A vinyl mat with no slots at all, just flat vinyl, painted vinyl mat. The cars somehow know where they are on the mat. They never go outside off the track. And you control them with your Bluetooth LE iPhone. No pairing. That's the nice thing about Bluetooth LE. You know that pairing thing you do with the headsets? You know, enter 000, and it's a pain in the butt. Bluetooth LE doesn't do that. You just launch it. The application looks for the cars. The cars say hello. Application says, I've got the cars. They can even update the firmware. In fact, it does update the firmware to add new capabilities to the cars, downloading it on the phone and then passing it over to the cars via Bluetooth. I think we'll see a lot of that. A lot of that stuff. Next week will be our CES week, where I'll tell you all the stuff that we saw. I'm just looking ahead. It's also the kind of show where you show light bulbs. You know that it is against federal law now to sell incandescent light bulbs? Yeah. They passed that law in Australia some years ago. They're very inefficient. They don't last very long. Compact fluorescents have mostly taken over the market, and here come the LEDs. Philips announced, and will be showing at CES. In fact, they will be in, I think, Home Depots, too. A new kind of LED that I don't know how to describe it. It's a disc. It's a flat disc. The big problem with LED light bulbs is the heat that the LEDs generate. LEDs don't burn out. They last 10 years or more. There are a couple of issues with LEDs. One is the heat. The other is, of course, color. People like that warm glow that an incandescent light gives you. But they're getting better at fixing the colors of these. And now they've designed LED lights from Philips that are a disc. They're not a bulb. And by doing that, they can dissipate heat a lot better. They don't need a big heat sink. And that brings the price down to, get ready, $10 a bulb. And they last 10 years. No new incandescent lights, but you know what? This is a good replacement. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Call me. Let's talk.
Who is it?
I tried to change a tire Marquardt. Abby had driven on it a little way. It was really shredded. I don't know what a little way meant, but it sounds like she drove on it a long way. And then, so I went over there and tried to change it. And it's, you know, the car has locking lug nuts, so bad guys won't steal my tires. So I got the lug nut lock out, and I think she'd torqued the wheel or maybe even torqued the axle because I couldn't loosen any of the nuts. And then I'm trying to loosen the lock nut, and it stripped the lock. The lug nut special thing that I use, so I couldn't get anything out. So then AAA came. They couldn't get the tire off, so I don't know what to do. I think she's probably damaged the wheel and maybe even the axle. Chris Marquardt, we will do something at 12:30. You can also make incandescents for chandeliers. Yeah, and I think the CFLs are worse than the incandescents. That was a bad idea. Chromecast, the only way you can watch Twit on your Chromecast is to open twit.tv or live.twit.tv in your Chrome browser, and you have to have the Chromecast extension, then you can tabcast the tab to your Chromecast. None of our apps yet have it because Google hasn't yet approved it. Google has to approve it. I see it, Taylor. Thank you. He'll send me an email too, I'm sure. Yeah, no kissing at CES. Yeah, it's laggy. I'm hoping it was put on too tight, but if AAA couldn't get it off, I don't know. Anyway, we'll call the tire company on Monday. They were watching the football games, I think. There was nobody home yesterday. LEDs actually can get very hot, but if they have good heat sinks, they don't. And that's a question, Mr. Wonderful, we all ask. $4.50 at Costco. Wow. Yes, CFL is pretty nasty. Empty seats at Lambeau because it's going to be 5 below. The coldest game in NFL history. But I think when the Niners win, we'll all feel just a little warmer.
Exactly.
Right. Because who wants frozen cheese? Not me.
Doesn't work.
I did see that the Anki drive has a firmware upgrade. Isn't that cool?
I guess as of like an hour ago, all the seats at Lambeau Field were covered in, just caked in ice. They hadn't even cleared them yet. It's going to be a big job.
How are they going to clear them?
With a blow dryer. They're getting a bunch of hairdressers out there. I don't know.
Blow torch. Let's see. Green Bay WI.
You know, if they upgrade that stadium, it should come with seat warmers, and you just adjust the level.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice?
6 degrees feels like -9, ladies and gentlemen, in Green Bay. It's windy, windy, windy. I guess that's what this little weird icon does.
That reminds me. Do you know, I saw the stupidest billboard. It's freeze your fat away now.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was tempted to try it, but it sounded cold.
For hundreds of years, we've always referred to it as melting fat away,
Right.
but now they're going to freeze it and then just chunk it off with a pick.
God, that sounds awful.
But that's what people will be doing at Lambeau Field, right? I literally froze my butt off. Just cracked it off.
Ooh, wouldn't that be good? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. Our website, techguylabs.com. There you will find not only the phone number and a link to our great chat room. Wonderful people in there chatting away. I can't think of them as the kids in the back of the class. Sometimes they throw spitballs. Sometimes they raise their hand and say, oh, Mr. Kata. And they know something. In fact, a lot of times. So they're kind of my externalized brain. You can join my externalized brain. Wear a smock if you go to TechGuyLabs.com. Yes, indeed. You can also, what else can you do? You can also find questions and answers from previous shows, audio and video. Anything I mention on this show will be there instantaneously, thanks to James DeRuvo, who writes this all down. And then Josh Windish matches it up to the audio and the video. It's a very nice thing. It's a very nice thing. TechGuyLabs.com is the only URL, the only address, web address you have to remember for this show. Heather Hammond, Phone Ranger. What call who?
In all clarity, I told John he was first. However, Rick was on hold yesterday, and I think we should get to his call.
So John's watching Cincinnati and San Diego struggle, so we'll go to Rick, and John can suffer a little longer in silence. Hi, Rick. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well.
Better today?
Yeah, you can hear the cold a little bit. It's all right. It's fine. Yeah. It's a winter thing. We all get it. It seems to be endemic around here.
Yeah, I don't have it, but I'm warming up my voice here on Sunday morning.
La, 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 la.
La, la, la. So here's an interesting kind of a problem. It's kind of geeky, it's kind of specific, but it's kind of weird too. A friend of mine and I are sitting around on New Year's Eve, and we're talking about something we're going to do in common, and I enter it in my calendar on iPhone 5 with iOS 7.
Yeah.
So I'm using Fantastical.
Love it.
Me too. He calls me up yesterday, and he goes, hey, that thing we're going to do, it showed up on my calendar.
Oh.
He's got an iPhone. I think he's got a 4. And I don't know.
So it's easy to do. If you put a person's name into an event, you can turn this stuff off, but I think by default this is on. And the name of the person and the person's email address is in your contacts.
Right.
When you set up the event, it will email that person with an invitation. He, on his end, if he's got auto accept invitations turned on, or it just shows, you can set the calendar to show invitations or not, it will automatically enter it. And actually, it's something people use all the time to make dates so that they're automatically on the other person's calendar. It's a nice feature, but it's a little scary if you don't know what's happening.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. It's a feature until it becomes a bug if you're trying to keep something,
Oh, secret.
Which this wasn't. But my question is this. Where's the default to not do this? Is it on my side or is it on his side?
Are you using Google Calendar for your synchronization or iCloud?
I'm using, I actually have CalDAV and I have iCloud too. I asked him, he's not a geeky person at all.
So he
didn't even know what CalDAV was. He didn't know. He doesn't have a Google Calendar.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I said. I said, are you on iCloud? No, because I've got an open Wi-Fi here. So his.
Are you using Mac as well? Does it sync to your Mac?
It does sync to my Mac.
Yeah. So there's a couple of places you'll need to look. Both on the phone, I'm not sure if it's Fantastical or in the phone settings, and then on the Mac, on the OS 10 calendar, you'll have to look there and make sure that the Add Invitees section is properly checkboxed, or uncheckboxed in this case.
Okay.
It is not an easy thing to ferret out because it seems to be on a bunch of settings and it looks different everywhere. It sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. In fact, I get more problem because sometimes it doesn't work, and my partner will say, well, I added you to the calendar. You should know about this conference call. And I'll say, well, I never saw it because she didn't use the right email or something, So it's all kind of a mystery. I'm looking at Fantastical right now, and I don't think it's in the Fantastical settings.
I don't think it is either. And like I say, he's just using.
I think it's coming from iCal.
Yeah, that could be,
or whatever they call it nowadays, iCloud and an OS 10 calendar. So I would look in your iCloud settings, and maybe in your just your iOS settings. There might be there too. Apple, this is not a good thing that Apple has done. Settings for applications show up both in the application and in the settings, the general settings, or the other settings for the iOS, and you're never sure where.
Right, so you have to look everywhere.
You have to look everywhere, and I find that a little bit disconcerting. iOS 7 is, I think, still a work in progress. I think Apple rushed it a little bit. There's bugs. I get a lot of bugs. Some don't.
Yeah.
But and so I think a lot of this will be cleaned up in time. I'm just looking in the iOS settings. I would look in iCloud.
Right.
That's probably where you
for
want.
people like you and me who maybe want to get under the hood a little bit, this is more interesting than not. But for someone who doesn't,
it's
know what
baffling. It's baffling. It's like what?
Yeah.
What? It's magic. Okay, let's see. I do see in mail contacts and calendars some invitation stuff. He may have just gotten an alert, by the way. And was it added to his calendar, or did it just pop up?
He called me up yesterday. We're actually both musicians, and I was adding this gig that we were going to do. And he said, "Did you email me with that?"
That's kind of the behavior you want, really. If you're in a band and you have a mutual gig, it'd be great if everybody who's in the gig, in the band, gets automatically added to their calendar. That's
It could be bad though if the bass player you didn't want to use.
Yes. So you have to be very careful. But that's when you create the event, you're saying who's going to be there.
Right.
You say those are the only people that will show up. So I think that I agree. I understand exactly what you're saying, Rick. Because it's automatic behavior. It's kind of could be a little scary. Like I don't understand what's doing what.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you exactly where the settings are. I think the default is just add stuff to the calendar, and so that has to be set off for him if he doesn't want that. I think he does want that. And then you have to be careful when you create an event only to invite people you want.
Right.
It won't add anybody you haven't invited.
Well, what I did yesterday is I set a dummy event. I said, okay, look on your calendar at noon. I'm going to add a dummy event, but without your name, and call me back if it's there.
It shouldn't.
He didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from him.
It's because you put his name in.
Right.
You have his address in your address book.
Yeah, of course.
And iOS said, oh, hey, I'll do you a favor. I'll just let him know. And normally that's really great. But you're right, Rick. There could be potential conflicts arising.
Well, so it's always going to act like Bandcamp, I guess. It's always
this one time in Bandcamp? Oh, you mean you mean the application? Yeah, it's very similar to that. It's if you put a person's name in, it will add them.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't, it won't.
All right, it's good to know. Who's on Twit, by the way, today?
Well, I don't know yet. I'll have to check.
Well, that'll be fun.
Thank you, Rick. It's good to talk to you. Take care. Yeah, we have a Sundays we do a big news roundtable show right after the radio show every Sunday. It's called This Week in Tech, or TWIT for short. This was a tough week because everybody and their brothers going to Vegas. And the 49ers are playing, which makes it a little harder in the Bay Area to get anybody. But I think we have a number of non-football playing people who basically are stay-at-homes on TWIT. They're not going to Vegas. It is really interesting to watch tech journalists. It's a matter of status. When you're first starting out in tech journalism, yeah, my company's sending me to CES is status. As you get to be more senior, yeah, I don't have to go to CES, thank goodness. That's the status. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You're welcome, Rick Full. Thank you for calling. Always good to talk to you. Hey, our show today brought to you by Gazelle.com. If you have old gadgets and gizmos piling up in your closets and your drawers, I want you to go to Gazelle, Gazelle.com. That's where you can sell your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac, and get cash on the barrelhead. That's a very old-fashioned saying. Does anybody even know what I'm talking? Cash on the barrelhead. You want a new, I just got Abby a 5C. She had an old iPhone 4S. Went to Gazelle, said, how much is Abby's iPhone 4S worth? It's in good condition. Unlocked price, $125. AT&T price, $95. And then you unlock it, and you get $30 more. They'll even buy broken iPhones and iPods. For a broken iPhone, $50. That's a good deal. You stuck with a BlackBerry you don't know what to do with? They'll buy them. They will. For cash. They'll buy tablets. Get your, a lot of people bought the Microsoft Surface. You want the new Surface 2? Sell your Surface Pro. Get a good offer. Good condition. You got all the cables. Got the cover. Well, let's see what that's worth. Thinking $294. All right. Now here's the deal. Get all your stuff together. Get a quote. These quotes are good for 30 days, so you don't have to pull the trigger right away. You can sit on it, wait. Maybe you don't have the new phone or the new tablet yet. Maybe you're waiting to see if a Nexus 10 comes out at CES, that kind of thing. But the deal is get the quote now, because nothing's going up in value. It's not like, oh, that's a rare antique Samsung Galaxy Tab. That's valuable. No, this is going down in value as we speak. So get the $83 now, lock it in. You have 30 days to take advantage of it. You're not committed. You don't have to do it. Once you get this, list of stuff together and you decide you want to pull the trigger, they'll mail you a box, prepaid mailer. So you don't have to mail anything worth more than $1. They pay for the shipping, give you the box, and then you get paid. You can get a check, PayPal almost instantaneously. I do recommend the Amazon gift card if you buy stuff on Amazon because they'll bump it up 5%. 1.5 million trade-ins worth more than $100 million plus to Gazelle over the last few years. 700,000 customers saying, we love it, you will too. Sell your gadgets the fast and easy way at gazelle.com. 7-all. Wow. San Diego and the Bengals. Go Cincinnati. Are you a Cincy fan? They haven't. Oh, you're from Kentucky. Just over the river. They haven't been in the Super Bowl since, what, 1980? I remember they had 2 games in a row, right? It was something like that, yeah.
The shuffle. Was it?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, Boomer.
The Icky shuffle.
Yeah. I kind of like that.
Yeah, we have to rent their team because we don't have one in Kentucky.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. Cincinnati, really, I think people don't realize it. It is in the South.
Yeah. Actually, the airport is in Kentucky.
Right.
Like, wait,
I'm in Kentucky? You cross the river. Aaron Rodgers would be on Twit today, but he'll be too sad. And we don't want any crying. It's so funny. All the cheeseheads are in the chat room going, oh, we may lose. It sounds awfully cold there. I can't wait to see it. Ooh. But I got to figure nowadays, I shouldn't talk sport ball. The geeks don't like it. The geeks don't like it. No sport ball. He could have, it could be on a shared calendar. You're right, Rick. Rick could have had a shared calendar. That would be another thing. I haven't logged in chat because my computer is updating. I was in, and then I got out. Octoview. I don't know. Don't know what Octoview is. Oh, they put, okay. So here's how they get the ice off the seats. Hot water, plumbing. They run 55-degree water through the seats, he says in the chat room. That's cool. Hammer on a ratchet socket and remove it with a ratchet. Well, all of them, I made the mistake. I think this is the wrong thing to do. I stood on it. 200 pounds of awesome torque. And that was probably the wrong thing to do. It was so bad. It's one of those moments I just kept, come on, honey, let me show you how to change a tire. Because Abby's never changed a tire. And that was embarrassing. I said, now you block the wheels so it can't roll off the jack, and you do the, and it was, oh, let's call AAA. That's how you change a tire, honey. Call AAA. Oy. Okay, a little more than 200 pounds, Beaker. I'm getting old and fat. PETA from Brooklyn. The new iMac, I don't know if it could do 4K. That's a good question, PETA. I think we could probably find out. 40 and 60 watts. So, yeah, you can get three-way bulbs. You can get chandelier bulbs. But it's just the beginning, right? I mean, if they start with 40 to 60, they start to get used to it, right? Problem is, we really use AAA. It turns out, and I didn't know this, there's a limit on how many times you can call a year. We hit it. Then you start paying. God, I don't know when we're going to see a new Nexus 10. That's a good question. Mac Pro can do it. By the way, I'm getting a Mac Pro. I think my Mac Pro comes Tuesday, our review unit. But we very kindly, a listener who bought one at 1 a.m., on when they put them on sale, decided against it, but it was too late. He couldn't cancel it. So he said, would you like it? And I said, I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a Mac Pro today. So I will get my review unit. Well, it's my personal unit. First, I'll review it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're talking high tech. We're talking computers. We're talking home theater. Of course, International CES coming up Tuesday. Tonight's the first event of International CES, the CES Unveiled event. It's gotten to be such a huge show. The Consumer Electronics Show is so huge. You know, it's like 83 football fields, 180,000 people, tens of thousands of booths that you can't see it all. You just can't. So there's a brisk business in these little mini shows. There are 3 of them now, where people who are at CES, or maybe even not at CES, pay $10,000 to $15,000 to a promoter who rents a big hotel ballroom and does a little mini trade show with 30 or 40 booths. And journalists, being the lazy lot we are, and hungry too, they put out a nice spread. You got your prime rib, your chocolate fountain, your giant strawberries, all that stuff, shrimp the size of my head. You put that stuff out. You invite the journalists. They come because they want to eat free. And then they see, you know, there's 40 booths. They can cover that. And so there's 3 of these events. These guys rake it in. There's Showstoppers. There's Pepcom, Digital Experience. And then the folks at the Consumer Electronics Association realize, hey, we're missing out. So now they do one first, Sunday. And I think a lot of the tech journalists, they go to those 3 and then they go home. Yeah, I saw 120 products. I'm sure that's everything. The problem with that, and watch carefully when you see coverage on the networks of CES, is the certain products get over-featured as a result. For instance, last year on Sunday at the CES Unveiled event, the very first product in the door as you go in the door is a vibrating fork called the Happy Fork. The idea being it helps you control overeating because it vibrates. I don't, you know, so like you're eating too much, stop it. I can't eat, I can't. So it's a stupid idea, right? I mean, come on. Really, use your noggin. Dumb. A battery-powered fork, this is a product? Every major network, including, I'm sorry to say, my own, spent 5 or 10 minutes talking about the Happy Fork. Why? Because it was the first product in the door, and they needed a file. So they got something. They got the Happy Fork. So watch for that. They'll be and by the way, they are selling the Happy Fork. It did actually become a product. But just watch for that, because you will see in all the coverage, and it's the most over-covered technology event in the world. You will see in the coverage, there will be one product this year that you'll go, why? Another one was an iPad potty seat. Oh, it was for potty training, and it had a little iPad holder. That got attention just because it was so goofy. But it's as if this is the big product of CES. That is not the big product of CES. Neither a vibrating fork nor an iPad holder potty seat.
That's a horrible idea, because then you end up like Paul Rudd and This Is 40, right?
I don't know that.
Train someone early to take that device into the can.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. So in any event, I don't know. It came with special software to teach the kid how to use it. I don't know. In any event, I'm just warning you ahead of time. The big stories will probably be the TVs. There may be a surprise. I think there are going to be more phones there than we thought. One company is announcing, and I think this is a terrible idea. I think it's Intel is announcing or showing a PC, a laptop that runs both Windows and Android at the same time. I don't understand that. That's for people who can't decide? The indecisive user? Oh, that seems like a good idea. Windows, Android, I don't know. Let's do both. By the way, the Happy Fork is not happy, says Scooter X in our chat room. Happy stands for haptic feedback. Okay, fine. My friend Molly Wood has a term she calls the literal net, where there are and Scooter, I love you, so I'm not knocking you, but there are people who are very literal. You know, it's HAPI. That stands for haptic, not for happy. John in San Diego. Okay, I'll let you watch your game a little bit.
Yeah, I'm doing Photoshop instead, Leo.
Good man. Geeks tend not to be interested in sports.
Yes, well, I do watch the games once in a while. I'll probably, once I'm done with this, I'll probably go out and watch it now.
Well, there's nothing going on yet, so.
Okay.
What
good.
can I do for you?
Well, I thought I'd get really smart and get a Roku, and you know, then I could get rid of my DirecTV and all that stuff and watch content through the internet. And I'm checking my TV out, and it's about 10 or 12 years old, and it doesn't have an HDMI setup on it.
Oh.
Yeah, right. And so a couple of weeks ago, you were telling some guy about an ST60 and how wonderful it is and beautiful, and I looked it up. And I can't afford that.
Panasonic Viera Plasma.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Although there are excellent, if you feel it's time for a new TV, you certainly don't have to buy that. There are excellent HDMI-capable TVs for $600, $500. Vizio is a great brand name. V-I-Z-I-O. So, but what do you want to do? Do you want to buy a new TV?
Well, not particularly, but I don't want to disconnect from, you know, another monthly bill. And if I, you know, get some $500 or $600 TV, I could pay for it in a year with not having the utility.
Yeah, think of it that way. That's right. You could disconnect the cable, use your Roku box. You still have to have internet, of course.
Right.
So a high-def TV. Now, there is another option, which is how this TV that doesn't have HDMI, does it have component in?
Well, it's a Sony rear projection 37. You know, it's a huge old herky-turkey thing.
You don't mind getting rid of that, do you?
No, I don't. In fact, I hated it when I bought it, and I hate it more now. But frankly, I have no payments on it. It's paid for. So
Yeah,
there you go.
I understand that. Well, I absolutely, Vizio, V-I-Z-I-O, is excellent. Get as big as you can afford. I think a lot of people look at the 42 inches and go, "That's boy. I mean, I'm on a 32 incher, and this is going to be huge." A flat screen you want as big as you can afford. I like 50 to start, so 50 incher. But I think you can get a very nice Vizio 50 incher for around $500 or $600. And yeah, these are LCDs, LED backlit. They're excellent, and given what you're coming from, you will be blown away.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Then I get the Roku thing. But I'm now starting to think that you can do some computerized stuff on these.
I wouldn't run out and get a Roku until you play with the Vizio because it has smart TV built in. And it does. You can connect it to the internet and the TV. In fact, most is true of all TVs these days. And in many cases, all the things you want to do on your Roku, you could do, you know, Amazon streaming, Netflix, that kind of thing. So,
yeah, well, I already have Netflix. I'm looking into Hulu.
Yeah, Hulu Plus is on there. So a lot of the content that you want to see, you could see without even a Roku box on these new smart TVs.
Wow, that's even better.
Yeah. Now, you can get an older Roku that's designed for component, but I think you want to get rid of that thing. That's just, I mean, just the size alone, it's like a small refrigerator, right?
It's big.
Yeah.
You know, it's so big that it's 37 inches, and I'm looking at the 50-inch in the showrooms, and it's like, well, this seems kind of tiny.
I know. Isn't that funny?
It really does. It seems puny compared to what I've got, but it's 10, 12, 15 inches bigger.
I know. I don't understand that at all, but it's true. That's why I'm saying get as big as you can afford. If you go to Costco or Best Buy or, you know, one of the big box stores, you'll see a range of Vizios, but Samsungs, Sharps, sometimes even Sonys, and they're all sub $1,000. There are some very good choices, and there's nothing you could buy right now that really is junk. They're all good. I would stay away from, there are up-and-coming Chinese brands that I don't think are as good yet, TCL and Hisense. They're really cheap because they're trying to get in the market, but I don't know if they're quite up to Vizio quality yet.
Well, I was looking at a Hisense today, and it looked pretty good.
Well, if it looks good to you, then go for it. Yeah, this is, in fact, the CES, we're expecting to see both TCL and Hisense make big splashes. Last year, Hisense took over Microsoft's booth. Microsoft stopped going to CES. And Hisense and TCL are Chinese companies that have looked at the success of Samsung and LG, the big Korean giants, and said, hey, what are they doing that we can't do? So they will be aggressive in pricing. And, you know, we buy a lot of TCL TVs because they're cheap. They don't seem bad. So if they look good, go ahead and get them. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. How many Bitcoins do I have? 7.4321.
Who is it came up with the phrase business as usual?
I am rich.
Every day's unusual when you're running a small business.
I am loaded. I have Bitcoins galore. Wow. And these are all donations from the website, but they've slowed down since November. Come on, guys. Don't forget, you can give me Bitcoin. Well, we're mining Dogecoin now. Or is it? Okay. This is a good time to ask the chat room.
I think that's got legs.
Dogecoin? Dogecoin? Doge? I think it's Doge. I think Father Robert Balaser says Doge. So one of the things that a Doge is based on Litecoin, which is the problem solving, the script technique that it uses is less susceptible to Dogie is less susceptible to throwing these big ASICs at it. CEA announces iBeacon scavenger hunt. Yeah, I saw that press release. Doge, like Kite, Doge. There seems to be no consensus really. Doge, ASICs. That's right.
Sir.
Yes, sir. I'd love to think about lunch. I'm thinking I would like something pretty light. I'm thinking, God, I wish there was something you could eat that would get rid of colds. This chicken soup's not doing it. I've eaten a lot of that now. And just give me one of those little pre-made sandwiches. That's fine. I just need a little sustenance. Thank you.
Turkey is a preference?
Yeah, they have turkey and cranberry and cream cheese, something like that. Yeah, whatever's in those plastic boxes. Bourbon and honey soup, says Dr. Mom. I don't want to do a lot of garlic right now, but garlic would be good, wouldn't it? Jalapenos, huh? Jaeger? No. We do have quite a bit of Jaeger. Colloidal silver will kill my cold in 2 to 3 days. She's really?
Did someone... They're kidding, right?
Huh? What does
Kidding,
Dr.
right?
Dean say about colloidal silver?
All you need to do is Google the woman that turned into the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz from taking colloidal silver because she thought it was good for her.
It seems ingesting heavy metals is probably not a great idea, but I could be wrong. Doesn't it go straight to the joints? Is there something about colloidal silver that passes through you? I mean, you can buy it.
You just should not put that in your body
Doesn't seem like a good idea.
at all. And
How about
many more
this? Quackwatch.com says
There you go.
risk without benefit.
There you go. That is the perfect way to phrase it. Love those Quackwatch people.
Long-term use can lead to argyria, condition in which silver salts deposit in the skin, eyes, and internal organs, and the skin turns ashen gray. That might be kind of cool.
Find the lady. Find a picture of the lady. It's frightening. And apparently it's not reversible. So she is silver now, and she can't undo that did.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Look at this.
Aren't I filled with some wonderful, useful knowledge?
I'd rather have a cold
Thank you.
than look like the
Look, it's a
Tin
cold.
Woodman.
It'll be gone in 7 days or a week. No matter what you do, right?
Are we in here? What the? How? Oh, this is how stuff works. This is an ad for some insurance company. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 88. Ask Leo. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, William, Montclair, Virginia, you're next. Hi, William. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
I'm going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's kind of cold here, but it could be worse.
What is cold in Montclair, Virginia?
Well, we're just south of D.C., so cold right now is in the high 30s. We're expecting single digits here in about 2 days, but that's not as bad as South Dakota, I suppose.
There's always somewhere colder, unless you live in Antarctica.
Yeah.
So what can I do for you today?
Hey, I actually I saw that one of the best things you can do to improve your computer is to get a solid-state drive. I heard you say that a few weeks ago, in fact. About a year and a half ago, I bought one, and I didn't really notice an improvement in my speed. I kind of swapped out what hard drive I had in my computer and put the solid state in. And I was just wondering if I might have installed it incorrectly.
Not necessarily. So let me tell you, as usual, there's lots of clauses to a sentence like the best thing you can do to your computer is put a solid-state drive in. Solid-state drives are much faster reading than spinning drives. They don't have they're random access, so there's no seek time, and their throughput is very good. But there's no point in putting one in a computer unless your computer's I/O bus, input-output bus, can keep up. Is it an older computer?
It's a Dell XPS from 2008.
Yeah, so you would want SATA, a high-speed SATA connection on that SSD to see any benefit. And I don't know what kind. Do you know off the top of your head what version of SATA you have?
Yeah, I wrote it down. It's a Crucial 128 with SATA 6 GB.
Yeah, but that's the drive.
Yeah.
And you want to have SATA 3 or 6 GB SATA in the computer, and I don't know if you have that.
Okay.
So, in other words, what you just described is exactly right. That has 6 gigabits per second throughput on the drive. But if you connect that drive to SATA 2, it can never go faster than 3 gigabits per second.
Okay.
If you connect it to SATA 1, it can never go faster than 1.5 gigabits per second. So you don't see the benefit from the drive. Where you most likely see a benefit at SSD is booting and application launch times. So if you don't see a much faster boot time, then you probably don't have a fast bus.
And can I replace the bus or replace anything else?
No, it's part of the motherboard. You'd have to get a new motherboard.
Okay.
Yeah, and I apologize if I misled you.
No, you did make that comment that you needed a better bus. So I
just look it up in your go to Dell and see what the bus. I bet you it's SATA 1, a 2008 computer. I bet you it's SATA 1. In which case, yeah, you probably you're saturating the connection well before the hard drive. You get to see the benefit of the hard drive. Really, the newer way to do it, and this is Apple's doing this in the Mac Pros and the MacBook Retinas and the MacBook Airs, is to put it not on the SATA bus at all, but on the PCI Express bus. Now, this you probably could do. So check you'd have to get a new drive, not a SATA drive, but a PCIe SSD. This might be more expensive, and you need to add a PCIe card. And then you'd see some significant improvement. It's faster even than SATA 3.
Okay.
So that's one way to do it. If you have a PCI Express, which you probably do in that, or even you might even be able to put in a SATA 3 card. But if you're going to buy an additional controller, I would get a PCI Express controller and upgrade that SSD. You could also opt to get a SATA 3 controller for your PCI bus. It is a little bewildering. I'm sorry, it's kind of confusing. Most new computers will be SSD based, and you look at the Mac Pro, this little cylinder that Apple's selling. By the way, I'll have one, and I'll be able to give you a review by next show. A very kind listener ordered one. If you didn't order it within the first few minutes of it being put on sale last year, like what was it, December, like it was day after Christmas, you had to order it in the first hour, or you wouldn't be able to get it to February. I think it's now off into March. Apple just cannot make them as fast as people are buying them. So this very kind listener said, I bought one and I don't want it. I'm going to buy an iMac instead. Unfortunately, they'd already shipped it. So he said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah." Because I woke up the next morning and already it was February to get it, So I thought I would go to an Apple store, and then it turns out they don't have them. So we'll give you a review. This is supposed to be very, very fast, and that is an SSD, a fast PCI Express SSD. The benchmarks I've done on the solid-state drives in my MacBook Pro Retina and the 2013 MacBook Air, I've never seen faster hard drive performance. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, William, there are ways to get that performance out of that computer, I think. It's just, in general, an older computer, you want a newer computer to take advantage of newer technologies. My old friend G. Scott is on the line from Tahoe. Hey, G. Scott.
Neil, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. No snow up here, so I'm not skiing. I'm home listening to you, and thought I'd give you a shout.
So, G. Scott, you have a Note 2. I have a Note 3.
Yeah, I saw you playing with it the other day, and you were talking about a launcher, and I don't know if that'll solve my problem.
Well, and it kills me because I love the hardware on the Galaxy Note. I love it.
Yep.
The Note 2 I used for a long time. The Note 3 has more junk on it. Samsung is taking the path now that to differentiate from other Android smartphones, we're going to load it up with Samsung crap. But the problem is, I don't want it. I want it to be a pure Google experience.
Yeah, I'm the same. You know, my Windows desktop, I can clean up my icons, get rid of stuff, whatever. That's kind of what I'm hoping to be able to accomplish.
It's a little different from Windows. Windows PCs come with a lot of trialware because the companies make money on it. There's some of that on smartphones, but mostly it's to differentiate so that a Samsung smartphone has features like hovering your finger over the screen or watching your eyes that an LG smartphone doesn't. So you'll buy the Samsung. And it seems to be working for them. Samsung totally dominant in the Android space. But I don't like it. I agree with you. So a launcher helps. Doesn't get rid of any of that stuff. You just don't see it. There's some very good launchers. I use Nova Launcher. There's a free and a pro version. It's worth a few bucks for the pro version. There's also ADW and Apex. All three are very good, and there are many others, but those are the three I've used and use regularly. That does give it a purer googly experience. You still, when you launch the camera, you got 18 different modes, including golf swing mode. You can't get rid of that unless you use a different camera. That's one thing Google is responding to this, though, with slowly they're putting onto the store, the Google Play Store, the pure vanilla versions of these things. So the Google Launcher is now available. You could use that. The Google Keyboard is now available for download. These are all free. Calendar is available for download. I imagine they'll put the camera up there at some point. And then, even though you won't be able to get rid of these features, they'll still be occupying space. You won't have to see them.
Okay, well, yeah, that's kind of it, because, you know, I got to scroll through 3 or 4 app screens.
I know, I hate it.
Get where I'm
Drives
going.
Me nuts.
So I think that's the right direction. Yeah, performance-wise, they're not, you know, hanging me up. But
no. Try the Google Launcher because it's free and it's from Google, and that'll give you the purest experience, and then see from there. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Great to talk to you, G. Scott. I would love it. You know, they did that with the Galaxy S4. They did a Google edition. But I don't think Samsung's going to do a Note 3 Google edition. Boy, I'd love that. And, of course, once they do, then you root it. I've already rooted my Note 3. But I have the AT&T version, and there's no ROMs for the AT&T version. But if you, that I could find anyway. But if you could put the Google Experience ROM on there, that'd be a great way to go. So we should, you know, remains to be seen. A lovely little Samo. Thank you. Thank you. No, that's what I said. Get SATA 3. That's exactly what I said. You need at least SATA 3. I think PCI Express is fast. In my test, it's about twice as fast. Thank you, John. I rooted it. It's actually not too hard to root the Note 3. It's very easy. I thought Google put its launcher on the Play Store. I guess they didn't.
So. It's only for certain devices.
Oh, what's a bummer. Yeah, you're right. I misunderstood. I thought they had done that.
Yeah, when you said it, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, they will. I bet they will.
I thought there was talk of it.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, they put the keyboard up. I mean, they're it's pretty clear that's their strategy. Well, Nova is fabulous. Apex is fabulous.
Nova's great.
Yeah, I love Nova.
Yeah, we're putting that as a default launcher on our Play key.
Are you?
Yes.
What is your Play key?
This is the Play key.
What is this?
And by the way, Twit will be a default app on there. If you
Oh, well, I love you now.
If you allow us.
Of course I allow you.
This is a prototype.
What is this?
This is our Play key. I've been designing it for the last
Can I open the...
Absolutely. This is yours.
Oh, mine to keep?
Yes.
Okay, let me guess. See, it has an antenna.
Open SDK. I fought for open source when I went to China.
Good man.
And we have
I see Wi-Fi. I see Bluetooth.
We have an agreement. It's a quad-core rock chip, 3188, and we're going to be releasing the
USB.
Open SDK.
SD card. Here's your DC adapter. So is it like kind of like what's the?
It's Android running 4.2.2, very stable.
Wow.
Jelly Bean.
And what do you use it for? Oh, it's a TV.
It's Android.
It's a TV dongle.
Full Android.
It's a mini PC.
We call it a play key, not a dongle.
Wow.
So, it's new, and it's going to be...
So what software is loaded on here? I mean, what is it? Is it for watching Netflix? Or?
Right now. This is for prototypes and developers. We're just trying to get developers involved.
So how much you want to sell it for? Under 100, probably, right?
$84.
$84.
And it comes with a keyboard and a mouse.
Wait a minute. With a keyboard and a mouse for $84?
And also,
it's an $84 computer.
It is. And it also comes with an app on your phone so you can control it via screen.
Oh, that's neat.
And you can cast with it. It comes with Cheapcast. Has Plex, YouTube, has Twit.
It has Plex and YouTube on it?
Has, of course, those are just Android, so anybody can download. We're not going to be putting HBO Go or anything like that.
No, but
you... It does work with HBO Go, does work with Netflix, does work with Hulu Plus.
Wow.
And it's a quad core.
And you can sell it for $84. 2 gigabytes of RAM. Correct. 16 gigs of flash.
Yes.
Wow. This is why Android is such an important transformative technology.
Yeah. This is going to hopefully...
Is it AOSP, or are you in AOSP, or how does...
Well, we're working directly with the design houses. We have about 4 design houses in Shenzhen that we're working with.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept is Miwa is an open SDK so that developers can use a multitude of different devices coming out of Shenzhen so that essentially they can modify it. I mean, we're hoping that Cyanogen will come on board and start developing a UI for it. So the idea is to give them a development platform that the UIs can start being developed for television, because we see that as the next frontier. This is essentially a computer, so anybody that has a television HDMI can turn their television into a computer for $84.
Is the keyboard USB or Bluetooth? Or?
It will be Bluetooth keyboard, and the mouse is actually a Wi-Fi. So we're utilizing both.
Oh, interesting.
For the developers, that way they can work on both. And there are some issues with it right now, but that's what the developers are going to be for. So
does this come off? Or
yes, it does. Just
there's the HDMI. So that is how it plugs in.
Correct. And there's
is it MHL? Too. Is it powered by?
It is not MHL, no. Okay. And we're working to putting NFC in it so that it can sync with your phone, so that cool. Immediately you can just use the app. That way you're not having to use a keyboard and mouse to set it up. So there's a little bit of a...
And it's powered via the USB?
Correct. It's similar to the Chromecast as far as its structure, but it's a quad core instead of it's much faster than the Chromecast. And it's neat. Full Android.
Well, because the Chromecast is really Chrome OS. It doesn't have an operating system.
Correct. Yeah. So it's like the Asus Android computer you showed. It looks very similar to that when you plug it into television. The display. Mm-hmm. It's just not a. It's just not a 4K. Was that 4K? Was it?
I don't think so.
I don't understand how they had 16 gigs of RAM. When I heard those specs, I was really confused by that, because I think Android, being 32-bit, couldn't address it. Yeah, so I was a little confused by what Asus is doing.
That must have been storage, right?
Perhaps, but it was, yeah, perhaps. Was it Chad that reviewed that?
I don't remember. Yeah, doesn't ring a bell actually. Asus. Oh, you thinking of the Ouya?
No, this is like an Android computer.
Right.
I think someone demoed the other day on Twit, but they were talking about how it had 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, they must have made a mistake. It must have been 16 gigs of storage. You're right. There's no way they could have done that. Huh.
Anyway.
So you're not going to CES?
No, we're not, because we kind of...
It's very expensive.
I've been in Shenzhen for the last year mostly, so I know what's coming.
Right.
And I really...
But you wouldn't show this at CES? Or you don't...
No, actually, some of our design houses that we're working with...
will be there. Yeah.
So, and Rockchip will obviously be there. They're the sock fabricator.
Oh, that's neat.
It's going to be open source. So anybody that has...
I'm not familiar with them. Wow, Rockchip, huh?
And they will be supporting VP9 as well, and H.265.
And it's it's A9 based?
This is an A9.
A9.
Their new one that's coming out that they'll be announcing at CES, the 3288, is going to be an A12.
Wow.
But again, you basically have to wait about 6 months before the OS gets stable.
Right.
So their next version...
So that's why you're using 422.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's extremely stable. Some of the issues with these devices that are coming out are...
Because they're using the latest, yeah.
Some of the components, Wi-Fi.
Right.
We've been stressing over the last 6 months trying to find out, what the issue is. But you don't have this issue with tablets and phones because you're navigating with your fingers, whereas when you start navigating away from the device, you're having trouble. You're having Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Will begin at 6 minutes past the hour.
Bluetooth, and because you're farther from the device,
Right.
they're fighting each other. Whereas when you have a phone, you're actually moving it with your fingers. So
Right.
it would occur with a phone, but you don't have that usability problem. So,
Wow, very cool. And you're going to come out under the name Miwa?
Miwa, yeah.
M-I-W-A.
We're trying to get rid of the word dongle.
No dongles. I know. That's all right.
Are you playing with your
We know what a dongle is. That's an advantage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. This is going to be a very competitive market this year.
Next
Yeah.
year, I think, is the
Yeah.
this year.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, hour 2 of the Tech Guy Show. Answering your questions, talking the talk, walking the walk of high tech at 8888 Ask Leo. Chris Marquardt, our digital photography guru, will review some photos from our monthly photo, it's not a competition, assignment at half past the hour. And meanwhile, we'll continue to take calls. 8888 Ask Leo. Website is TechGuyLabs.com. Dave in Venice Beach, you're next. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hi, thank you. I'm gaining weight again because my fork is broken. My
I need my vibrating fork.
No, but I'm talking about projector. I need to update my projector to play movies.
Okay.
I'm looking for somebody gave me good advice about the LED lights and 1080i or 1080p because mine is a really old one. It's like 9 years old.
When you say update, you're going to throw out the old one or just and get a new one. Okay.
Yep.
And it's for movies specifically. It's not a PowerPoint projector. It's not.
Not at all.
It's
Just
not for business.
My buddies at home. Yes.
Yeah. Epson has a whole line of home cinema. Epson makes very good PowerPoint projectors.
Yeah.
And Epson makes some, and I should mention they are a sponsor, so I'll give them a little disclaimer there. But the I've been using an Epson Powerlight home cinema projector for some time, and I really like these products. They have all the connectors you need, primarily HDMI in. The quality is good. Everything's going to be 1080p these days. You'd be hard pressed to sell a 720p.
Right. I have a comment though. My budget is about $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And does it have LED lights as well?
I'm not sure what the backlight is, but yeah, I would guess it is. I'm looking at the 750 HD. It's $759. PC Magazine said, "Oh, this is 720p. We're going to get rid of that one. Throw that one." I'm surprised they're still selling that.
Somebody was trying to advise me the Pro Series 16. I don't know what that is really. He says it's a 1080i, but you won't see a difference, and that's why I was calling. Is there a big difference between 1080i and 1080p on the projectors?
This is also very confusing. 1080i is essentially the same as 720p. Oh. It means it's what the kind of input it can take. What you're really asking and what you want to know is what is the native resolution of the display. And it's the same for a projector as it is for a screen. What is the and you want the native resolution to be 1080p. Here, the Powerlight, Best Buy has Epson's Powerlight 2030. It's a 3D 1080p projector for $1,000. This is the updated model of the one I've been using. Very happy with this. A couple of things you want to inquire about is the throw. Is how far away from the screen the projector will be.
Question. It's 4 meters away.
That's great.
And it's 105 wide.
Yep, that should be fine.
Oh, yeah?
That should be fine. This has 2,000 lumens, which is pretty bright. You will, as usual with a projector, I'm sure with your old projector, you have to darken the room.
Yeah.
The other question on these is the lamps. They do burn out, and they're fairly expensive. Epson's saying 6,000 hours, which is pretty darn good.
Yeah, but that's why I would like the LED.
Yeah, but they all have lamps because they're projectors. Oh, I see what you're saying. Let me just see what the... yeah. That's an interesting question. I don't know. I'll have to look around.
Okay.
I'd like these Epsons because of the software, because of the designer. Yeah, it's UHE, not LED, so I'm going to have to look and see.
And when you say native resolution, I don't know what that means. I'm not a tech guy.
So it's the actual resolution of the screen. When they say it's 1080i, they're talking about what kind of signal it can take. But what you want to know is how many dots the screen's going to put out. That's the dots of the screen. And that needs to be 1080 from top to bottom or more. the chat room saying, and my thinking is probably the case, is that the problem with LEDs is they're not as bright. Now, 4 meters isn't super distant, so lower brightness might not be so bad.
No, it's really dark, and it's only at night, and it's so close in my living room, so I'm not too worried.
The chat room saying about 600 lux, 600 lumens for LEDs compared to the 2,000 on this UHE. So if you can't afford, if you're under $1,000, you probably shouldn't get LED.
Oh.
Because you're just not going to get something that is good enough and bright enough.
Oh, I didn't have.
It's so expensive, in other words, to do an LED light. Yeah.
And so the model you would recommend, because I didn't take notes, Epson UHE?
The UHE is the bulb. It's the I would look in the Power Light, Epson Power Light Cinema projectors and look at the range. They go from $360 to $10,000. So pick the one you can afford.
Jeez. Excellent.
All right. Yeah, there's some really nice projectors in this line. There are many other companies that make these, but my experience is that Epsons are very good. And really, it is more than just the specs. You want something that can handle the inputs you want to use, that does a good job upscaling and so forth. And I think these are I've been very happy with these. Good luck, Dave. It's a nice way to do it. You said 105 inches. You could not afford $1,000 for a 105-inch LCD or plasma. You couldn't afford it. It'd be $100,000. But that's the beauty of projectors. You can make them big. Now, very important, Dave, not to stint on the screen. You're not going to want to show it against just a white painted wall. You want a good screen. I went to Monoprice and was able to get a very good screen. In fact, a motorized screen, so I can use a remote control to lower it and raise it. For I think $500 for 120 inches. So I would recommend monoprice.com. It is important that you have a screen. The other thing I looked at was painting the wall, and you can buy special paint that makes it a screen, about the same price, and you have to paint it. So I ended up opting for a screen that I could push a button, the screen comes down. When I'm done, it rolls up into the ceiling, and it doesn't really look bad. But you do have to darken the room, as you know, because you already have a projector. Even the brightest modern projectors, you really want to darken the room. Jim in Huntington Beach, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey.
I have Microsoft Outlook for my email, and I just recently changed my internet service provider, and I have everything hooked up. Everything was working fine, except for one strange little quirk. About 10% of the time when I send an email, I get an error message saying your server does not support the encryption type that you've chosen. And I've contacted my internet service provider, and they're telling me, oh, well, when you go into your account settings, make sure that each place it asks for the encryption type that it says SSL.
SSL/TLS, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I've done. But what's really strange is it only happens about 10, 20% of the time.
Yeah, that is odd. And now, I do hope that it sounds like your provider does support SSL, which is very important. You want the encryption, especially on login, so that you're not setting your password in the clear.
But what happens is if I just leave it alone, even when I get the error message, if I just leave it alone for 30 or 40 seconds, the email actually goes through.
Yeah. There might be some security software running on your internal network that I would check out. What are you using?
I use McAfee.
Yeah. Just for grins, you might disable McAfee and see if it goes away. You don't want to do it long term, but just to see if that's the source. Who's your email? Who's your ISP?
Verizon Fios.
Okay. It does sound like it's working. It's just that occasionally you get a blip.
Yeah, that's really strange.
Yeah.
I mean, if it happened every time, I would understand I did something wrong, but just...
Yeah, no, and I don't think you did.
Yeah.
And I think probably it's just one of those things.
Do you think it would make a difference as to whom I'm sending the email to?
No, it has to. What it is it's saying when I try to handshake with the internet service provider to send them mail, they're saying, no, we don't support that. And then I try again, and they do. That's what basically is happening. So
Now
that could be anywhere along the line. Might be not even getting to the internet service provider. It might be that McAfee, for instance, is blocking it. So that's why I say try turning it off just to see. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. But it's working, and if you were using the wrong port, unless it's polling ports or something, rolling ports.
Hey, let's face it, we're all trying to save money these days.
Yeah, you change the timeout, then it'll try harder, right? Just try harder. Outlook, just try harder. It'll work eventually. Yeah, Aereo's awesome. I'm trying to think of what we would do when we do a cord cutter show, because I really do want to do a cord cutter show, is what we would focus on. And I think a third of it would be stuff like this Miwa and Aereo and the actual technologies. A third of it would be content, like, what's great out there, what to watch.
There's a transition happening, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely happening. We really want to cover it,
We've seen that. We started seeing it last year. That's what got me involved in the project.
Right.
And actually, MakerMat was developed during Miwa. I was inspired by All About Android, watching the show.
Oh, neat.
That's when the idea came.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so
I love All About Android. That's one of my favorite shows. They do such a good job. I love Jason. Yeah. I was on it on New Year's Eve, and I had so much fun. It's fun to talk about Android. It really is. It's so exciting.
It's interesting. You said on New Year's Eve, I think Sarah Lane is the only true cord cutter that was on that.
And she wasn't there.
And she wasn't there. But it's amazing, as forward tech people as you have on your shows, that really there was only one cord cutter.
Yeah. Well,
it's hard because HBO makes it hard.
Truth is, we can afford cable.
Right.
And we like TV a lot. So I don't want to be a cord cutter just for principle. I want to watch HBO, And frankly, Sarah Lane cheats because, well, I won't say how she cheats, but she wants to watch HBO too. And right now, the only way to legitimately watch HBO is to have a cable subscription because of HBO. So, yeah. And, man, if I don't get HBO and Showtime, that's what I mostly watch. I watch Homeland, Game of Thrones, that's the stuff I watch.
I think ESPN, too.
And ESPN, if I can't watch my football.
But you get the big football games.
Well, these are streaming, which is very interesting. For the first time ever, ABC and NBC are streaming the playoff. Free streaming. So I was very surprised. That is a sense that we are actually now in this transition.
By the way, I unlocked the developer site if people just want to take a look.
Yeah, sure. What is it?
It's connect.miwaplay.com.
Connect.miwaplay.com. This is the developer site for Miwa.
It's literally under construction. Slam. This is my VPS, so it's not.
So we're just going to bring it to its knees right now. That's what we're going to do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 88. Ask Leo. We were talking, one of the things, we have somebody visiting the studio from a company called Miwa, M-I-W-A, miwaplay.com. And they are making a product that I think is going to be in a category that will be very big this year. Google's kind of doing it with their Chromecast, Time Magazine's product of the year for 2013. It's a little Android-based, in Google's case it's Chrome OS, but not much difference, based unit that plugs into your HDMI port on your TV. And in this case, the Miwa turns it into a full computer with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, quad-core processor. You actually, for $84, you get a keyboard, you get a mouse, and you get the little computer, and then you just add a display with HDMI port, which could be, I guess, a computer display, but also could be your big screen TV. The first obvious use for this it would be to add, internet content to your TV, streaming content, things like that. And boy, we're in a revolution for that too. For the first time this year, the NFL playoff games are being streamed by NBC and CBS, and I believe Fox is going to stream the Super Bowl for free. That tells you something. That tells you that these companies, these content companies, are finally getting comfortable with the notion that you don't have to make people watch TV via cable or via antenna. That you actually can perhaps, and I think they're dipping their toe very slowly, do it over the internet. And there's a lot of us would love to see that. Wouldn't you love to get rid of your cable bill or your antenna and just download the stuff you want to watch? But what's missing right now is the live stuff. You know, that's really what's missing. And local news and stuff. Although some of our chatters have, Dr. Mom has Aereo. It's only available right now in a few cities. I think Boston and New York, and rolling out in others soon. A-R-E-R-E-O. This is a very interesting cord cutter. That's what they call this. People who don't want to pay for cable play, because you rent a dime-sized antenna in New York City that's connected to the internet. You have to be I guess you have to be a New York City resident. I don't know. But anyway, you rent a dime-sized antenna, and then your iPad or other device, you log in via the internet to your antenna, and you can watch live TV. They even include DVR capabilities, things like that. Atlanta has it. Very interesting. We are in a rapidly changing world. And I'm reading right now a great book about Amazon. It's called The Everything Store. By Brad Stone, and it's a fascinating study in how the internet changes everything. In the case of Amazon, of course, it's changing retail. And nobody, in 1998, when Amazon was first getting started, everybody said, oh, who's going to buy stuff online? We're all going to go down to the store and pick it up and bring it home. And, well, we know how that's changed. And he wasn't worried. He, you know, of course, Amazon was originally only books. Barnes & Noble said, we're going to destroy you, kid. We're going to put you out of business. In fact, they said, you should just sell to us. There's a famous scene where Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, goes to a Harvard Business School and gives a lecture, and then stays in the room while the Harvard Business School students debate the merits of Amazon. And their conclusion was, get out of that business fast, Jeff. There's no future in it. You're going to be clobbered by Barnes & Noble and the others. And Bezos said, and that's very smart, and it's true today. No, I don't have to worry, because Barnes & Noble and these other companies that have big stores can never devote the resources, will never devote the manpower. They'll never put their smartest people on the internet side, because they realize it hurts their main business, which is these big stores. Of course, in the long run, what's happened to bookstores? There are plenty of towns now, and it's kind of sad to me, but there are plenty of towns now that don't have a bookstore because people just buy it online. And that's going to happen more and more. And it's happening in television and movies. And that's what's really interesting, is to watch companies like NBC and CBS, who really depend on the revenues they get, not only from advertisers, but from the cable companies who pay them to put CBS into your house so you can watch football. They're really struggling with this notion of, boy, we'd love to be online, but we don't want to get the cable companies mad. It's very hard for them to innovate because they've got an existing business model that relies on the revenue, and they can't put all their energies into the internet. So we're in an interesting time. Some companies are ahead of other companies. Some companies are dragging their heels. But when you see little bellwethers, like the fact that these NFL playoff games and the Super Bowl will be free online, that the networks will be streaming them, that tells you, they're finally putting their money where their mouth is. I find this fascinating. 8888 ask Leo. Sean's in Norfolk. Oh, in the UK. Not VA, but UK. Hey, Sean.
Yeah, I am in the UK. I'm actually in Norfolk on the East Coast, on the East Anglia.
How is the weather? How is the weather in Norfolk?
Wet, miserable, having high winds, flooding everywhere.
Stay inside. Stay inside.
A nightmare. Seriously.
It's great to talk to you, Sean. Thanks for listening. We love our international listeners.
Yeah, well, I've actually heard of you, obviously, through stevesdrc.com website.
Yes, Steve Gibson, who does a wonderful podcast called Security Now. So you listen to that.
Yeah, I actually watch on YouTube. There's one thing I was wondering. What happened to the live stream you guys did on New Year's? Because apparently I haven't seen it online.
Hey, John, let me ask my studio manager, John Slania, what are they doing with the New Year's Eve stuff we did? Is it going to go up on a YouTube channel, or what are we going to do with that? Do you know?
It should. Yeah.
Which will it be youtube.com/twit? Yeah, all right.
Inside Twit.
Okay, youtube.com/InsideTwit.
Yeah.
So we did a 24-hour broadcast. Actually, it was, let's be fair, 23 hours, in which we welcomed the new year in all around the world with our international audience. And, you know, it was 23 hours. We're not going to put a 23-hour show up on YouTube. But I do believe Justin TV has the whole thing, of course. And I do believe that we will. Yeah, see, I don't see it on Inside Twit. I'll have to let you know, Sean. I don't know where we're putting it. I would hope we would put this up on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, we're a brick and mortar business. We can't be using the internet. It'll put us out of. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. So what can I do for you, Sean?
Yeah, hi. I'm just wondering, have you ever heard of the a little small Linux computer called the Raspberry Pi?
I have indeed.
And,
it comes out of the UK, and it's a very interesting idea.
Yeah. Well, surprisingly, the one thing I will tell you, believe it or not, the actual technology is actually based literally 18 miles from where I live in nearby Cambridge.
I know.
Yeah.
In fact, I've interviewed the founder of Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, Eben Upton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Cambridge University funded this to some degree, and there's a Raspberry Pi Foundation. The whole idea was to teach computer science by making a very inexpensive, we're talking $35, computer available to people who wanted to build projects with it and so forth. It's a really great idea. Actually, there is a $25 model. It will run Linux. A lot of people have used it for home theater. We've done a number of shows on our know-how channel on how to create a Raspberry Pi home theater and so forth. Yeah, I love it. We really think it's a fabulous thing. Hold on, Sean. We got to take a break. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Big fan of the Raspberry Pi. We have done a number of know-hows on the Raspberry Pi, and we'll continue to do so because Father Robert's a big fan. Yes, sir.
Do you mind if we put the tower bridge right there?
No, that's a good idea. That's a great place to put it, actually. So we haven't put up the.
No, we haven't put anything up yet.
At all.
Nope.
Are we gonna?
Yes.
It just takes a lot of time.
There's been segments up. I saw
I thought the Brushwood Magic Show would be up.
Magic show's up.
I think Brian did that though. That's not.
Oh, Brian put it up. So when we put it up, where do they put it? Inside Twit?
It should be inside. Twit is used for Twit bits only.
Okay. So youtube.com/InsideTwit. Watch for it.
And we usually do social on
Yeah.
Twit stuff also.
Okay. It's a lot of work, I'm sure. They got to chop it up and. Yeah. Everybody's recovering. I'm still sick. Yeah. I don't know what the timeline is on the Cord Cutter show. Sarah wants to host it, which I think would be great. As I was saying, we're going to be at least a third on the hardware and the technology and a third on the content. I don't know what the other third is. I used to know. I was thinking of getting TV Critic on the show. I want to do a roundtable with it. A TV Critic on the show, perhaps somebody like Dana Brunetti who produces the content. He's the guy who produced House of Cards. And then, well, I don't know. We have to figure it out. I know. The magic show was creepy. I warned you, didn't I? Midtown John, it's bizarre magic. I don't know what they're breaking it down to. Probably into bits. So, like, you'll see Steve Gibson making coffee and stuff like that. Dan Patterson is on Twit. Trey Ratcliffe. And I don't know who else. But that's the problem with the Cord Cutter show. Oh, look who's there. Look who's there.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. With the Cord Cutter show, I think the thing is to mix content and how-to. So I don't know how exactly we're going to do that. The tongue thing grossed you out? It did. Yeah. Yes.
By the way, I'm a Raspberry Pi fan myself.
Hey, good. You can mention it. What do you do with your Raspberry Pi?
Go to tfttf.com/streaminaction. I built a little streaming server, a little audio streaming server. So all the audio streaming equipment you have down in the basement, ditch it for a Raspberry Pi.
Wow. It is amazing what you can do.
It does work. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It digitizes my sound and then sends it out to an Icecast server. It works really well.
Awesome. That is awesome. Whose software are you using?
It's Dark Eyes. Dark Eyes is a streaming client.
That's really neat.
And it really works amazingly well.
We used to use Nicecast on a Mac to do that. Now we have a dedicated hardware box, which is a lot more expensive.
I did use Nicecast, but Nicecast wouldn't play nice with Mumble, which I use for some of the shows. So I had to find an external solution, and I tried the Raspberry Pi, and it just did work.
The New Year's Eve show is already on YouTube, they say. Let me check. I didn't see it. I was looking. Well, I didn't see it. Videos. Brickhouse slideshow. Coding 101 beta. Fitness show. Inside Twit. Happy birthday, Leo. Game of Geeks. That's a fun thing. We played a couple of rounds of Game of Geeks.
It was such a great day. It was awesome.
Isn't that a fun?
I hope you guys do that next year.
We will. We already decided. There was resistance when I proposed it at first. That Lisa said, nobody's going to work on New Year's Eve. But everybody came in. It was really nice. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah, no, we'll definitely do that again. Won't do 24 hours probably. If you tune in the Tech Guy show around about now, you'll always hear, or most of the time hear, our friend Chris Marquardt. He's the photo guy. He is a professional photographer, but has helped people get the most out of their digital photography for the last few years, since like 2006, right? On his podcast, Tips from the Top Floor. When did you start
2005.
that?
2005.
Really?
April 2005, yep.
Wow, that is early.
Really long time ago. Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Not the first wave, but the first and a half wave.
A podcast pioneer himself. So, Chris, we have an assignment, don't we, to review? You want to do that today?
We do. We do have an assignment to review today, and the assignment was Arrival. And
so explain what these assignments are.
Well, the assignments are, you can send in a picture. It will go up on Flickr. You can go to the Tech Guy group on Flickr. Just go to flickr.com/groups/techguy and submit a picture there according to the current assignment, which, again, this last month it was Arrival, and then it will be on the group. And as you always say, there's nothing to win. It's more like a good way to show your picture and to have it reviewed here in the show. So this time, again, I made a selection of 3 different pictures, and they are, there's a lot of stuff that came in for Arrival. Amazingly few airport-related ones, only 2 or 3 of them. I was expecting more there. There was one with the birth of a baby, and
that's a good one. I like that.
And birds in flight, just landing, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But as you know, as you know me, I always choose a bit of the different kind of pictures. So let's have a quick look. So the first one that I chose is by MA Photo Giant, and the title is "Strolling in the Rain." And it's one of those pictures that is, okay, what does that have to do with Arrival? Well, first of all, you don't really see what it is. It's mostly black, and there's a big streak of light in the middle. And then you start getting your bearings, and you see a bit of contours of people walking along a path along some water. And then you realize that the light in the middle, the beam of light, shines into rain. So there's very little light in the picture, but the little light that's there kind of makes the picture, because it's mainly black. And don't be afraid of some underexposure in pictures. In this case, there is plenty of underexposure.
Yeah, it's kind of dark, but it adds
some mystery to the picture.
Yeah,
you know?
and it highlights that light and the rain falling through the light, and then the flag in the background. It's very pretty.
You notice that you need remarkably little information in order to see what's going on. I mean, those 2 people that are walking there, you just see a bit of a contour, just a little slightly lit contour of them, and it's still a complete picture. You still see what's going on there. So I found this a really good idea. Very well executed.
Next, Yogi Cameron.
Now, I'm not really sure why that is Arrival. Maybe he has arrived at his inner self, or in his middle, maybe. What we see is a black and white picture and a candle in the foreground, which is in focus, and then a person in the background kind of sitting there doing apparently some meditation of some sort. And then there's a bit of smoke in the air that's kind of on the same level as the candle, so it's also in focus. and it's in front of his face. So this picture has multiple levels.
It's a beautiful image. I really like it.
It's beautiful, very simple, very beautiful image. It doesn't need any color. I think the focus on the candle kind of grabs you and guides you there, and then the rest is kind of just a bit of an ornamentation, a bit of an ornament around the picture.
By the way, we'll put links to all three of these on our website, TechGuyLabs.com, so you can look at them directly. But I like black and white. Sometimes black and white really, it gets the distraction of color out of there.
Color can be distracting, especially if you have, in black and white, if you have focus somewhere, that's where you want to look. Or if you have bright somewhere, that's where you want to look. And then in color, a red blot somewhere in the background might grab your eye and take it away from where the action is. Take your eyes away from where the important stuff is. So just by reducing that just to contrast, just to black and white and bright and dark and shapes and forms, and taking that whole level of information away really helps some pictures to get stronger. Some pictures work better with color, but this one I think doesn't need color at all.
Dave D. Weller in our chat room says something that I kind of agree with. He says, I'm kind of OCD, but the picture behind the yogi is distracting me. Sometimes that happens where you've got a great image, but then there's a piece of the picture you wish you could just... Is it okay just to edit that out in Lightroom or Photoshop or something?
Well, yes, I personally think, yeah, sure. What we're making here is art. We're not journalists, right? So I think modifying things to get to the feeling that you want to convey is perfectly valid. And by the way, that's a good segue to the next picture, because RenDVUS sent in a picture called Emilio. And
this is, speaking of color, this is colorful.
So what we see is a silhouette of a boy at a beach. In the background, there's dark, looming clouds. The water has nice reflections on it. The boy's on the left-hand side of the picture. So the majority of the picture, the greatest part of the picture is just the sea and some rocks and the clouds. And then there is some fun color on top of the picture. And it could be some form of a lens-related thing, maybe some lens flare or something. But this one looks kind of almost like he deliberately added the colors in there. But it gives you sort of a very, a kind of a feeling. It's hard to explain what kind of a feeling it gives me, but it adds a joyful feeling, and there's a kid on the picture, so it's kind of related to playing and to having fun with things. And in this case, even if the color was probably not originally in the picture, I don't mind it. I think it's just perfect to help tell a story.
I think this is a really interesting picture.
Yes.
It does feel like it's a camera error. You know, this is one of the things that's hot right now, is these hipstamatic filters and so forth that you put on your camera phone to simulate errors, to simulate kind of the bad images you'd get in junky cameras from earlier eras. I wonder if it's one of those. I noticed some of his other pictures have similar color casts and so forth. So.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny to see pictures that come from expensive DSLRs being reduced to shreds by some of those filters.
Yeah, no kidding.
I personally prefer to shoot straight with old cameras, but that's just me.
Well, you're lucky because you have those old cameras probably, so you don't have to simulate.
Those are not expensive.
I guess not. So those are 3 great images. We thank everybody who submitted images. It's just for fun, and it's a way to get you out in the field taking pictures, and a way for us to look at what makes a picture interesting, makes it different, makes it jump out at the eye. And it's always fun. If you go to our Flickr group, the Tech Guy group, you can see all the arrival images there. And again, we'll put a link to that in our show notes. But now at TechGuyLabs.com. But now it's time to give you a new assignment.
Yes, and the last assignment was arrival. So I thought, why not make the new assignment departure?
Oh.
So just take the exact same pictures, just turn your camera around, and it'll be departure.
All right, that should be fun. So here's how it works. You need to have a Flickr account, but that's easy. It's free. If you are a Yahoo user, you probably already have a Yahoo account. Go to Flickr.com and create that account. Upload images. You can do as many as 1 a week for the next 4 weeks, illustrating the word, the concept, the idea, departure. Do make sure you put departure in the tags so we know. Renee Silverman, our moderator there at the Tech Guy group, will add it to the group welcome you if you're not already a member. The group is called Tech Guy, and you'll know you're in the right group because there's thousands of people in that group. In fact, there are more people than pictures. There's only 3,378 photos, but there's 11,000 members. That means some of you are not uploading. Everybody now. We all want you to upload. Hey, thank you. ChrisMarquardt.com, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. More of your calls right after this. I like the new Flickr look, don't you? It looks nice.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a big improvement, I think. It really puts the pictures forward.
Well, and unless you go to some of the older views, which is the tags view, for example, the one that I sent you, the first link.
Yeah.
And then it falls back to the old view and it looks so antiquated now.
I know. It does look antiquated, doesn't it?
But it's good. I mean, the new look puts a really nice presentation on your pictures. I like how those pictures resize into different widths and things to keep the same height, and that will
Isn't that
give
cool?
you this
Yeah.
stream of pictures that has always worked really well, and putting that into a web page. I like that.
James, I'm going to forward you this email so you have these links. James DeRufo. James DeRufo.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. Glückliches neues Jahr.
That is very close, yeah. And I completely understood what you said. Same to you.
What
Happy
does that
New Year.
mean? Happy New Year?
I was trying to say Happy
Well,
New Year in German.
you know the word glücklich has two sounds in it that are really, really hard to
That we don't
pronounce
do.
for Americans.
Yeah.
So there's the U umlaut, which is Ü, and then there is the CH, which is so it's glückliches neues Jahr.
Oh, well, Leo can say
No, don't do the because that is more from the Swiss guys, and Germans are very soft on that, so it's glückliches neues Jahr.
Yeah.
Oh, Germans are soft.
Compared to Swiss German, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. But Truckee helps me out because he spelled it phonetically.
Very good.
Say it again.
Glückliches neues Jahr.
Glückliches neues Jahr.
Glückliches neues Jahr.
Yeah, very good.
Glückliches neues
I'm
Jahr.
going to work on this.
Okay, next week I'm gonna ask you again, and
No, we won't remember.
I want you to repeat. I want you to memorize that till next week.
Glückliches neues
I should bring you a German lesson next week.
Be fun. Be fun. I wish I
I'm a
spoke
lot
more
German,
languages.
so-
It seems like you should just speak every language.
Well, if it was that
You
easy.
speak English so well. How did you learn English so well?
I did work for Hewlett Packard, and I worked for them for over 10 years. So I had tons of trips and meetings, and I think I was in the U.S. an average of like 3 to 4 times a year. And that helps.
And you'd studied it in school?
And I did study it in school.
So you kind of had the base.
For 9 years.
Yeah, because your English is
that
so
was,
unaccented.
Oh, I can put a German accent on and try my best.
It's good. I like it.
We need a new Hogan's Heroes just for you to star in it.
Oh, God.
Well, you know what? Hogan's Heroes is not funny for Germans because, we do speak the language, so the translation and everything doesn't really work for Germans. So Hogan's Heroes is kind of, okay, yeah.
I didn't.
Did
think
they
it was
actually
funny
show Hogan's Heroes in Germany?
In a
God.
German translation,
Oh, my
dubbed in
God.
German, which is even weirder.
That makes
so-
no sense at all.
No, it doesn't. No,
Seems
it
like that
doesn't.
would be one of the few shows that really wouldn't translate.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's just leave
kinda.
that one off.
All right, Chris, thank you.
All right. See you
Have
next
a great
week.
night. Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, with more cowbell. 8888, ask Leo. 888-827-5536. That's the number if you want to call. Talk about Raspberry Pi. It's got me hungry, or anything else. Bob's in San Jose. Hey, Bob, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
I'm well, Bob. How are you?
I'm just fine. Waiting for football today, and I'm going to break that stereotype of geeks not being sports guys. I like the playoffs in football, and I am an avid baseball fan.
Are you excited about the Winter Olympics?
Oh, as a matter of fact, yes, because I like to watch curling.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't know if that's a sport or what, but
yeah, it's an event anyway.
It's fun. I think curling is fun to play. I don't know about watching it so much, but it's fun to play. So, yes, good. Well, welcome, Sporty Geek.
Yes. I do little video no, I don't do podcasting, but I record videos for training for clients.
Okay.
And I Skype and a bunch of different things there. But what I want is to get away from having to use the mic that's right in front of my face. So I have lavaliers, wireless lavaliers, but I can only hook them up to my camera, right?
Right.
To do the recording. Now I want to be able to hook them up into the PC so I can record in the PC for doing webinars and things like that. But it only has a 3.5 millimeter connector.
That didn't. Oh, it's just a little phono jack.
Yeah, it's a little phono jack on it, right? But I want to do it in the USB.
Right.
And I've heard of devices that will convert from the big mic plugs,
right.
XLR or something, or the little ones, and then you can plug it in the USB. But I have no idea if that would even work.
No, you want something a little bit different for converting the mini jack into USB. So let me explain some of the terms that you just used. Lavalier, those are the lapel mics that you see on television all the time. They're little microphones, they're distant from the mouth. They use them on TV because they're not in the way. You know, if you watch the video that we do of the radio show, you'll see I have a massive microphone in my face. In fact, anytime you watch TV of a video show, there's always a big old mic because the best sound, and since radio is all about sound, comes from a mic right in my face. In fact, if you ever listened to the podcast of something like Meet the Press, where they're in a studio and they're all wearing lapel mics, it sounds really bad. It's fine on TV. I don't know why. We could see the space. It doesn't bother us. But just listen to the audio, you hear a lot of what we call room noise or room tone, which is very echoey. Assuming that you're okay with that. So it sounds like you are because you've been doing this for a while, right?
That's correct. And I'm also doing it in a room that's kind of dedicated for that.
Yeah.
So I don't have cars going by and the cat meowing and the dogs barking and stuff like that.
You have to pay attention to stuff like that. So, normally we'll recommend if you have a traditional microphone which has those big XLR jacks, there are a lot of choices for converting the XLR to USB. That's very common. We use M Audio. Shure makes a really nice little, it's just like a bigger jack. But getting the mini jack... See, the XLR is an unbalanced, so you want to get unbalanced to USB. Getting a mini jack to USB, I think that's actually easier. There are a lot of USB sound devices. A good example would be the Griffin iMic, which probably is all you need. The Griffin iMic has it's $40. It's cheap, and it takes a mini jack input and converts it into a USB output. So people use it for guitars and other unbalanced interfaces to go to USB. I've used these for years. They're fine. There are more expensive ones. This is what they call these are DACs. They are digital audio converters. They convert the analog audio coming out of the mini jack into the USB digital. So there is some circuitry in there. It has to be.
Right, yeah, I would have to convert it from the analog to the digital.
Right. The Griffins are nice because you could choose from line level or mic level. You'll be using mic level. And it goes in and out. So it goes in both directions. $39. This is probably what I'd recommend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's what I was looking for because, we do webinars and having that mic in front of our face just doesn't really look good for a sales presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, we debate this all the time because, certainly on the radio, there's no question. But a lot of what we do, the podcasts that we do, are both audio and video. And I am a little biased towards audio, so I always want everybody to have a giant microphone in their face. And all the people I work with say, you can't do that. You got to have little lavalier mics, little lapel mics. And I just don't like the sound. I don't like the sound.
For what we're doing, that would be fine. We're not doing broadcast
We, in fact, do that.
Information.
Yeah, our show, iPad Today, where Sarah Lane and I are sitting in a living room, that we obviously, we don't want to have big mics in our face.
Yeah, no, it would be better if I was just doing audio because I have a face for radio.
You add video and everything goes downhill. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, because when they look at me, they just cringe.
What kind of training do you do, Bob?
Oh, computer training
that's neat.
For private companies and for individual people, and we sell this training out for, you know, if people need it and so forth. We're promoting it, you know, to just very, very select audiences type things.
If you do many mics, if it's just one mic, the Griffin's a good idea. They do make, you know, Mark of the Unicorn, Motu, and others will make devices that will do the same thing, DACs that will handle multiple channels, that kind of thing. But the iMic for one microphone, 1-to-1, $39, pretty cheap, works very well.
Oh, no, that sounds exactly what I want. That's great.
Great. Yay, Bob.
Yeah, go 49ers.
Niners.
Win in the cold.
Oh, they say it will be the coldest game ever played in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
right
so
now.
happy I'm not there. The weather here is just terrible. It's 62 and the sun's out.
I know. We suffer here in California, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Leo, thanks.
I love asking people about the weather because you know, it was 75 yesterday here. It was beautiful. The sun was shining. Just felt great. Sorry to rub that in. John is in South Pasadena. Hi, John. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey.
Hi, Leo. Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. Thanks for hanging on.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm going from Windows XP to Apple. Finally, I'm making.
Wow, that's an interesting sideways diagonal jump.
Yeah, XP. You know.
Yeah.
It's anyway. I've got. I do a lot of photographs. We make lamps and design lamps, and I'm going to use them. I'm looking at the Mac Mini or Mini Mac, the Mac Mini, I think it is. And I need a monitor. I don't want to go with $1,000. You know,
the whole point of the Mac Mini when Apple first released it is for exactly what you're doing for PC people to move to the Mac. You just unplug your keyboard, your mouse, and your monitor. You plug it into the Mac Mini, and suddenly you're using a Mac. Yeah, and it feels the same to you. If you don't want to use your existing monitor, though, there are lots. You don't have to get an Apple monitor by any means.
No.
Any PC monitor will work just fine.
Anything. Actually, I learned on laptops. I've never had a desktop.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
This will be so I'll plug it in at first, but then I'll get a keyboard and such.
Dell makes excellent monitors. I think the new Mac Minis are HDMI, so make sure that the monitor has an HDMI connector.
Okay.
But the Mac handles a variety of resolutions. It's not fixed to any one resolution. I think it's a great choice. And yeah, you don't have to buy a fancy monitor. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. How does he do it? I have a very springy bottom. It just keeps the blood going.
You don't know what
Mac Minis are Thunderbolt. No, don't the new Mac Minis have HDMI? I don't know. I thought they did. It seems to me that HDMI is now the lingua franca for everything. I mean, all of it's the same. It's all digital, so you can easily get a converter.
I was surprised that they came in this.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. I like it. Mac Mini, let's see. Want to see the back. Thunderbolt, USB 3, I guess not. HDMI to DVI adapter. I don't know what that means. Which direction? Tech specs, let's see here. It'll have ports. Ports. Yeah, it's Thunderbolt. So, no, there's HDMI. So it's HDMI and Thunderbolt. Which means you could use mini DisplayPort, but I would just use the HDMI. That'd be the easiest. Almost all the new monitors, like from Dell and everybody, have HDMI in. So that's the easiest way to do it. I have no spite for the bolts. I do not have spite for the bolts. I don't even know what that means. I like the Chargers. But we have somebody here who's a Bengals fan, so I'm just being kind.
Fan used loosely.
Loosely. He's from Lexington, so he's a fan-ish.
Hey, I was looking for some tea for you? Do we not have any?
I am drinking cold coffee. That's very good for the throat.
I'll make you tea.
Oh,
Then I
aren't
saw
you
that
kind.
whiskey, and I was like, oh, now that would do the trick.
I do not want to drink whiskey now.
It's so close to the end of the show. Though.
I have to. No, I got to do Twit. That's the hardest show I do all week.
Right, that's right.
All week.
All right, what about the tea then? I'll make it.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Are you sure? I really
You're so kind. You're so kind to me.
You need that.
No, I got Twit. Then I have to get on an airplane to Vegas right after Twit.
Oh my God, that's why you need tea.
Oh.
You sure?
This makes me pee more.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's good for you. HDMI is not. You're right. If you had a high resolution display, you'd want to use Thunderbolt. You're right. I might get liquored up for Twit. I don't know.
Do it.
Good advice. Get liquored up.
Just a finger. Gargle it.
I think in my condition, getting in any way liquored up would be a bad idea. Ricola.
There you go.
Ricola. I have been sick for 2 weeks now.
You have to finish it in a minute and a half.
If I don't get sick leaving here, I'm going to be surprised.
I hope you don't. I'm not coughing on you. I'm coughing with you.
That's funny.
I tweeted last night, I'm going to Vegas with a cold. This year, I guess I'm patient zero.
Right.
I have been gargling. I have been inserting saline solution into my sinuses. I have been taking decongestants, NyQuil. I don't like doing cold medicines. I think they make you sick. What I think cold medicines do is they defer the symptoms. They just push it down the line. 7 days, you just got to go through it, come out on the other side. That's my philosophy. Hey, how are you today, Leo Laporte, the tech guy? Time to talk about computers and the internet, home theater, smartphones, digital photography, anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Outside those areas, hey, you can still Skype us. Wherever you are, we have callers always from all over the world, and I love that. But Max is on the line from, is it West L.A.? Max, good to have you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. I was listening to your show yesterday about tuning up the plasmas, calibrating them.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share something with you that I discovered. Is that about 5 or 6 years ago when I bought my first plasma that was a Pioneer, which I love, the deal at Best Buy was that they send out a Geek Squad guy for free as part of the deal to calibrate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so last year or a few months ago when I bought another plasma for the den, they had stopped making the Pioneers by that time.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
So I bought a Panasonic Viera, which I
very
love.
nice. They're very good.
I tried to set it up myself with no luck. So I got the idea of what if I tried to set up to go into the settings that the Geek Squad guy had set up for the Pioneer,
right?
And set up a ratio.
No, every screen is different.
Beautifully,
every screen is different.
I know. That's what I thought, and I tried it. The colors are matte. The color, the
really, it worked.
The density, everything matches perfectly. I set up. I mean, you get 0 to 40 on the Pioneers, and the settings maybe go to 60 or something on the Panasonic. But I set up a ratio of the with X being the unknown on the Panasonic, and ninth grade algebra, and lo and behold, it looks great. So. I'm not. Maybe I just got lucky. Who knows? But
you got lucky.
You
did. Hey, well, here's the deal.
It really does it.
The reason you do this is all TVs are set up from when they come from the factory to look good in the store, which generally means brighter. Now, oftentimes, just putting it in movie mode is like 90%. You know, that's going to be so much better than the dynamic mode or the store mode or the display mode that the TVs are set in. So that's the first thing you do. And then probably what you did, you turned the brightness down a little bit because they're over bright. Again, that way they look better in a fluorescent store.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, you can do a lot of this by eye. In fact, I would guess that the Geek Squad calibrator wasn't really a trained calibrator. There are two groups that train calibrators. It's very expensive to get the certification. It's Dolby, and I can't remember the other one. But these companies have really fairly strict standards. Did the guy, for instance, from the Geek Squad put a device up to measure the screen as he was calibrating it? Or did he do it kind of by eye?
You know what? It was so long ago, I forget what he did. But
I mean, when Scott Wilkinson, our home, oh yeah, sure.
It
I mean, look,
beautiful.
any and this is, I guess, what I'm saying is any calibration is better than nothing.
It wasn't Technicolor colors; it was all muted and beautiful.
It tends to be more realistic, exactly.
Subtle, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was very, very surprised and happy to get the same results on my Panasonic.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, I think the main takeaway here is it is better to do something than nothing, to get it out of dynamic mode, to turn down the brightness, the contrast, the colors a little bit, probably does help. Now, if a pro comes in, and by the way, it's not expensive, it's hundreds of dollars. If a pro comes in with, when Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guy, came to calibrate my TVs, he brings a specially calibrated camera, which he aims at the screen. He runs special software. He measures the colors. I mean, this is all done with tools, with equipment and gear, and fairly complicated to do. And, you know, the truth is, I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, but it does look great. It does look great. You will get most of the way there by doing probably what you did, which is getting it into movie mode. Right there, that's a big improvement.
Yeah.
And then maybe turning the brightness and the contrast down a little bit, too.
Yeah.
But play with it till you like it. I mean, the truth is you get used to it, whatever it is.
That's true.
But what we do know is the way they're calibrated out of the factory is dead wrong.
By the way, if I wanted to get a surround sound system for my, because right now I have on my new one, I have a sound bar, which is great from Sony, couple $100 from Best Buy.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really, that's kind of like just good stereo.
Yeah, you get better I mean, what it's doing is it uses computer imaging to simulate a surround sound. But nothing will beat a left, right, center, left, right, rear, and a subwoofer. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.1.
Amplifier for that, or could I?
Yes, generally you do. You can go out and get a home theater in the box kit that has all the speakers and a special amp just for it. I'll tell you what. I mean, it's all about how much you want to spend. But if you're willing to get an AV receiver, an audio-video receiver with multiple HDMI inputs, it just makes a huge difference. And then 5.1 speakers. Look at, if you want to save money, home theater in the box. There are a lot of good choices there, and they're very good. You want to spend a little bit more, go out and get a Denon. I think this is my current favorite, the Denon AV receiver. We're talking a few $100s there. And then get some good speakers. You'll want left and right stereo, center channel for vocals, for speech, and then left and right surround, which actually I always thought of surround speakers as being behind you. They're not really. They're kind of to your left and right at ear level. And then a subwoofer. Now, that's one thing you miss with the soundbar. Only a giant speaker can move enough air to really give you a true bass. And that's why a subwoofer really makes a big difference. But you get that that's 5.1, 5 speakers plus a subwoofer with an AV receiver. You're talking probably under $1,000. Massive improvement to the sound, even over a good sound bar. And I think people don't notice until they hear it how important sound is for TV and movies. It's a very important component in this. So you really want that home theater experience. I think it's worth doing it. Just as I think it's worth doing it if you really want your TV to look great, to get a calibrator. Now, RobotBot in the chat room says a very good point. You probably can Google that Viera model and get online at AVS Forum and other places settings. And those will be close. Not every panel is the same, of course. They differ somewhat coming out of the factory. So every panel, it'd be best to have it specifically calibrated. But the truth is, the settings you get online for that model TV, for that Panasonic Viera, are going to be pretty close. And we'll give you the best results, I think, short of getting a guy in there with special hardware and everything. Hey, enjoy your new TV. I tell you, nowadays, sitting at home with a nice big screen TV, a good surround system, comfortable. The floor's not sticky, presumably. I assume you're cleaning the house. Your popcorn's nice and fresh. It's just there's nobody behind you with a cell phone. It's a great experience. I still love going to movie theaters, and for those big, extravaganzas like The Hobbit, it's great. But boy, it is amazing what you can get in a home theater now. You don't have to be a Hollywood movie star. You don't have to spend millions of dollars to really get a great system. And the first time I watched a Blu-ray movie on a good system with good sound, I felt like I was actually seeing a more accurate reproduction of the movie than I saw in the theater. That I was seeing more detail. I was seeing more of what was going on. I just think it's you're talking all in probably $2,000, $2,500 for the TV and the sound system. But boy, what an experience. And, for somebody like me who's been around for a little while, $2,500 for a 55-inch or 60-inch TV and sound system, that's amazing. Prices have really, really dropped. 8888 Ask Leo. Thanks, Max. Enjoy your new, beautiful plasma television. Get them while you can. They're all being discontinued. More of your calls coming up right after this. I'm trying to think of what I spent.
If you're running a small business, you can't operate.
I got the Panasonic Viera. I can't remember, ST60. I can't remember which one I got. But it was about $2,300. I have on that system, I have a Perion speakers and a Denon. The Denon AV receiver was probably $350, and then these Perions. I got a system with a sub and everything. Probably, yeah, $350 is not bad for a Denon. It's good. I mean, they make more expensive ones, but they've gotten a lot cheaper. I'm really happy with these speakers. They're cherry wood. They look good and they sound great. I'm not happy with the website right now. I can't figure out what the hell's going on. Shop now. There we go. I think I got the Veris. Just kind of their mid-range. I can't remember. Maybe I got the Intimus. But I got 2 towers, a center channel, left, right, and a sub. Very good. Another excellent America-made speaker system, Emotivas.
This is hooked up to your OLED, or is this
the Emotivas are hooked up to my OLED, yeah. So I have two different setups, one in my office and one in the living room. These are very good. I love these Emotivas. Now, they're fairly inexpensive American-made speakers. So these towers, these are $399 for the pair. So it's not very expensive. Then you're going to get a center channel, and then so I think all in all, maybe $5,000 for my whole system. It's a lot, but I likes it. I watch a lot of TV now.
Back it up.
I sit there, I watch TV all day, all night. I have my lockpick kit. I think just put this in my wallet. Do you think I get stopped by the TSA?
No.
No? It's too thin? You have one too?
No, I've got a similar sort of thing.
Waz's card is made of metal. He says he gets on the plane all the time. Ooh, that's cool.
Bottle opener, and it's like 15 in one tool, screwdriver.
The Pocket Monkey.
Yeah, it's supposed, but it's.
And you get on a plane with this?
TSA approved. It said on the package.
It's TSA approved. They take away my nail clipper, but you can get on the plane with this?
That's what they say. I've gotten on 3 planes so far. You could build a plane with that. Exactly.
Wow. This is really neat. From ZutilityTools.com. The Pocket Monkey. This is not a toy. Do not give it to children. So it's got a little... Okay, there's the bottle opener.
Let those kids
And
play
it's
with-
stiff enough. I guess it is. It's steel. Yeah, I don't know what the other stuff. Drawing curvy lines.
Take a look at that tire. You need changing.
Yeah, can you change my tire with this?
That is really gougy on that one end.
I know. I think that's a weapon right there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to... They haven't yet looked at the pocket monkey. They allow pocket knives, so I don't think it's any different than a pocket knife.
Yeah, is that true? Is that
Yeah. Lighters and pocket knives. What? Come on in, boys. You could take a Leatherman on now? Wow. Well, if you take a Leatherman, you should be able to take a... They've given up. The terrorists won. We give up. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. So I think San Diego won. Now we get to go to Lambeau Field. It's going to be the Horsies next week. The Chargers and the Broncos. The Battle of the Equines. I will never interrupt AC/DC. I'm just going to sit here for the entire song. Ladies and gentlemen, Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That is the phone number to call if you want to talk high tech, like Alex in Jersey, again in the UK. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I am wonderful. Welcome.
Good. Long-time listener, first-time caller. But
how do you say Happy New Year in England?
Happy New Year.
Ah, interesting. I can pronounce that.
Absolutely. But no, first-time caller, but I have visited twice and also purchased a brick.
Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that, Alex. Oh, yes. Oh, Jersey, you bring me my fudge. He's my Jersey fudge supplier.
Absolutely.
So great. How is it? How's the weather right now in Jersey?
It's not too good. I mean, we've got a big storm coming in from the west.
Yeah.
Which is basically, so we've got lots of flooding going on and stuff because we're a small island. Lots of sort of sea defences are our only defence against high tides and rough seas. So lots of that going on, which is all good fun at the moment.
And west of Jersey is what, Greenland?
No, it'll be the Atlantic, basically. I mean, I think that you head straight out west from Jersey and you hit the US.
Oh, you're right. It's south of England, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you're actually kind of in a harbor that's somewhat like you're practically in France.
Yeah, absolutely. Except it's not very harbored when you're having to do some sea crossings at France. Wow. But no,
I've got to come visit you. You visited us twice. I'm coming to visit you, Alex. I want some of that good Jersey fudge.
Anytime. I tell you, I've got a question. Basically, having conquered my visual world with Philips Hue lights and having kitted out the whole house with Philips Hue lights of every different variation.
These are the lights that you control via Wi-Fi. It has a little base station. You can use it on your iPhone or Android phone. You can make everything be green, blue, whatever colors you want. You can mix and match. I love these things.
Yeah, and so do I, although I often get the mickey taken out of me for my love of coloured lights. And even the kids' bedrooms have got Hue lights in, which I set to a very dim purple for nighttime, and then it switches off when the sun rises using the if this.
Oh, you are tricky.
Yeah.
You are tricky. So when the sun comes up, the lights turn themselves off?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great idea. And the kids like the purple?
Yeah, it seems to be keeping them in their beds at the moment. So yeah, all good on that front.
Great idea.
Yeah. So now I'm looking at the sound elements of my life. Now, basically, at the moment, I've got a current sort of setup of a 5.1 setup minus the 0.1 because I don't have a subwoofer.
Right.
But basically, I've got a couple of I've got three Bowers and Wilkins 705 bookshelf speakers.
Very nice speakers. Very nice. Yeah.
No, I've had them for about 9 years now, and I do love them. But basically, I'm looking, and this was really prompted by your MacBreak Weekly show with Rene, when you were talking about Sonos and the sound bar and so on. Because I've got an Apple TV in the bedroom, and I've also got an Airport Express connected to a couple of cheap PC speakers in the kitchen. And I use a Mac Mini as a sort of a multimedia PC.
You must be the most wired guy on Jersey. I mean, holy cow.
Not far off it. Geeky, very geeky.
That's awesome.
Indeed.
So you can so the idea of Sonos is these are wireless speakers. They have their own technique of sharing stuff, so there's no latency. They do sit on the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band, and you configure them with Wi-Fi, but they ultimately do their own thing network-wise. They also can play internet radio, Pandora. They have a very broad range of music and so forth. And now you can do a home theater system. They have a very good sound bar. The surrounds can be the Play Ones, the little relatively inexpensive, and nothing that's got the name Sonos on it is inexpensive. Plus the Sonos sub. But actually, I do have this set up on one of our systems, and it's quite good. You know, if you're used to B&W speakers, those are better speakers.
Well, I'll tell you my issue being that I like the idea of, so I do stream music out to, you know, speakers in the kitchen and upstairs in the bedroom, and you can have them all connected, so I can have the Bowers and Wilkins stuff all going at the same time, you know, using the...
That's one nice thing about Sonos. If you use their Connect box, your standard stereo can be part of the Sonos system, which is nice.
Right, so this is my question, because I've got a Denon an old sort of Denon 2805 amp, and I'm just wondering whether, for instance, and I know that the big crux is that in order to get Sonos for your TV, you need to have the soundbar, don't you? You can't connect a digital satellite receiver into it or anything like that, into a standard Sonos amp or anything of that sort. So my question is really, can I wire my Denon amp in with a Sonos system so that I get the ability to stream, you know, to have multiple speakers, extra speakers, then, you know, kids' bedrooms, bathroom, etc., and use the Denon amp with my current speakers as well?
Yeah, so the device, I think, that will solve your issue is called the Sonos Connect. And it doesn't have any speakers. It's just a connector that connects your internet to whatever, in this case, your Denon amp. And now your Denon amp has all the Sonos capabilities. If you want to watch it with TV, not sure about
that. Well, that's where the TV side of it probably isn't so important in that I'm already sort of like got the, although I am interested in like the Sonos woofer and stuff as well, you know. So the
sub is very pricey, and I'm not sure it's better than a less expensive sub from other companies. But what you're paying for with the Sonos is this wireless capability. I mean, that's the whole thing. Right now, they have a deal where you can bundle, they call it a gift pack, a Sonos Connect with some Sonos speakers. The Sonos Connects themselves are not super expensive. There's a Connect amp. You don't need that. You just need the basic Connect, $350. What that does is it connects to your internet, usually via Ethernet, and then, although it can use Wi-Fi, and then it has optical out, which you go into your Denon, and then drive the speakers.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that was my question actually. As well. I couldn't imagine what connection it was going to be, but
yeah, it's optical.
It's very.
They actually have optical and they have optical and wired, but I use the optical for best results.
Yeah. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you. And I've just got one more very quick question, just regarding your love of coffee. And that is that I recently bought an espresso machine. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on those. In terms of, I know that you kind of do cold pressing and various...
I'm a little bit of a snob. I'm not crazy about the pod solutions. I think they make a decent cup of coffee, but I think you can do better.
Right. Okay.
How do you like the Nespresso? That's more important, not what I think.
I love it.
Then you're good.
And it's nice fresh coffee, but I was just wondering, because I know that there's plenty of people, including my brother, who threw away a sort of £1,000 espresso machine after getting the Nespresso because of the cleanliness, and also he just wasn't enjoying his coffee as much. He just found it was producing a better cup of coffee than him faffing around with an expensive machine.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think that we here at work we have Nespressos because we don't want to clean up after our employees, and it does make a credible cup of coffee. But I'm a fan of the AeroPress, where you hand press it and so forth. And I feel like I want to grind my own beans. I want to have it fresh ground. I want to make it myself, and I just feel like that gives you a slightly better cup of coffee.
Right.
Hey, thanks. It's great to talk to you all the way in Jersey. Alex, all the best. Stay warm this winter. I hope I'll see you soon. Take care.
Indeed. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I have no idea what happened. I've lost control.
You should have let me make you that tea.
Is there an engineer out there on the...
Engineer.
I'll go out and find an engineer. Yeah, this is Chat's cat. It's our technical difficulty slide.
Hey, my new friend tuned in for a while.
He did. Did he hear us talk about him?
No, I think he's riding his bike now.
Okay.
I think we're safe.
Jammer B says what? I hit an extra button? That's not good. I shouldn't be able to hit a button that does that. And if you could tell me what button that is, that would be good.
It's on the mouse, but I'm not sure.
It's on the mouse?
Anthony walked over there.
Anthony knows what it is.
So I'm not exactly sure. It was. You might have hit a key.
It's a macro? Snow macro. Oh, it's the snow macro. But since there's no snow anymore... Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And we go back to the phones. Carl is on the line from Santa Monica. Hi, Carl.
Leo.
Hey.
It's great to talk to you.
Well, it's good to talk to you.
So
Thanks for
your
calling.
awesome call screener.
Oh, isn't Heather the greatest? The bomb, as we say.
She is such a sweet person.
She is great, yes. I stole her from Dr. Dean. And
oh, did you?
Well, she's for how long? 11 years you were with Dr. Dean Adele?
Yeah, almost 12.
Long time. I hope you'll 12 years with me.
Yeah, let's do it.
You got a good deal.
Yeah. Dean's retired. I didn't really steal you. I mean, really great guy. And I'm so glad to get his call screener. So what can I do for you, Mr. Carl?
Well, you were talking back in 1998 about how Amazon debuted, and I just had to share a story. I was just a teenager back then, and, you know, most kids, they're trying to get alcohol. Well, maybe not most, but certainly my friends. And they would go down to the liquor store and try to get someone to buy stuff for them.
It just baffles me how my 18-year-old son can get a case of beer anytime. I don't understand.
It's amazing how when you're that age and when you want something,
slap him upside the head, I tell you.
But being a geek, I didn't have the guts to do that. So what did I do? I went on the internet and I found a store, and I was actually able to buy a bottle of Sambuca, have it delivered to my house, and paid for it with my mom's credit card. Sorry, Mom. And
the truth is coming out. Mom's going, Carl.
I don't think she's listening right now. But,
and now nowadays, if you order liquor through the mail, which you can, an adult, a 21-year-old, has to sign for it.
Exactly. They did not have those regulations. Exactly. Or they were very lax because they didn't think that anyone would do something like this. So, the internet. And,
little did they know. Yeah, in fact, early on, Amazon did sell wine. They bought a wine selling site, and they sold drugs, drugstore.com. They bought a lot of sites to sell other stuff, but eventually they just moved. Everything's on Amazon. I don't know if you can buy beer and wine on Amazon at this point. But
you know, to Amazon's credit, it might not have been actually Amazon, but it was back in 1998, and it could have been a third-party store. But
Amazon owned something. What was it called? Wines.com, wineshop.com. I can't remember, but they did go on a buying spree to get a lot of these.
And they're doing very well
since out of business, including Pets.com. They owned a stake in Pets.com. So what can I do for you, Carl?
Well, my question is, I hear everyone talking now about the whole crypto coin thing, which seems like almost like a modern-day gold rush.
Yeah, or pyramid scheme, depending on your point of view, yes.
Exactly. Everywhere you go, you have a different opinion. And my question to you is this just a scheme? Is this something that's going to take off? My friend told me about something called Kanye West, which is, I guess...
yeah, Kanye West has his own cryptocurrency now.
Yeah. And I'm going, should I invest in this? Should I go out and buy a computer?
Well, okay, let's talk a little bit about it. So it's kind of a deep subject, and I don't know if I can do this in a few minutes in a credible way. But if I'm holding up a dollar bill, what is that worth? It's a piece of paper. And really, it's not worth anything. It's a piece of paper, but we value it with what they call the full faith and credit of the United States government, because the U.S. government says a dollar bill's worth $1. But that's what we call a fiat currency. It's based on faith.
And I know I can go get an Apple for it. So.
And because we all agree that that's worth $1, it works. But it isn't worth anything, really. It's a piece of paper. So all currency is to some degree fiat currency. A guy about 10 years ago, a guy or a group of guys we don't know, obscured in the mists of anonymity, named Satoshi Nakamoto, came up with something called a cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. And the idea was that, like a dollar bill, it is an imaginary amount of money, but if we all agree it's worth something, we can use it to buy stuff, to trade stuff. The only difference between cryptocurrencies and a U.S. dollar is there's no government backing it. Whether that needs to be, for a currency to work, I don't know. You know, used to be Disney bucks, right? You know, and if you can get something for it, and we all agree you can, then it's worth something. The idea behind cryptocurrency is very interesting. First of all, it's anonymous. Just as cash is truly anonymous, cryptocurrencies are as well. You can give somebody a Bitcoin without them knowing who you are, and vice versa. You have a Bitcoin wallet that is simply a bunch of bits, computer code. You can lose it. Somebody can steal your wallet and get your secret key, and then they can get your money. There's no central bank, no central authority at all. In fact, Nakamoto disappeared. Probably, I would guess, with a fairly large, fairly hefty number of Bitcoins in his digital wallet. And that's why some say this is a pyramid scheme. People who get in early on, of course, if it's decided that Bitcoin is worth something, and it's been worth as much as $1,200 a coin. I'm just going to check Mt. Gox, which is one of the Bitcoin exchanges, and see what it's worth right now. You can get an up-to-the-minute valuation. Mt. Gox will buy Bitcoins for U.S. dollars. In fact, they'll give you $1,015 for each Bitcoin. The way you get Bitcoins is either somebody gives you one or you can generate them. And this is true of Kanye West. This is true of Dogecoin, true of Litecoin. There are a number of these cryptocurrencies. In general, all of them work the same way. Your computer has to solve a very difficult problem. It's kind of hit or miss. If you're lucky and the computer solves the problem, you will get some number of coins. My friend Steve Gibson, very early in the Bitcoin days, just said, oh, this would be fun. They call it mining. He did some Bitcoin mining, which involves running a program on your computer. Boom, like in the first day, it got 50 Bitcoins. That's worth $50,000 right now. A couple of investors in Bitcoin, and there are some big investors like the Winklevoss twins. You remember their name, the Winklevoss twins? They sued Mark Zuckerberg saying, hey, we invented Facebook. A couple of very wealthy boys, Harvard kids. They've invested heavily in Bitcoin. They say they believe Bitcoin will get to $40,000 a coin. Well, if that's true, then Steve Gibson's 50 Bitcoins are going to be worth millions. I have 7 Bitcoins. Even I am going to be fairly wealthy based on that. I hope it's true. I'll take it. On the other hand, there's nothing to stop Bitcoin from being worth nothing because it's all imaginary. But the same thing can happen to a U.S. dollar. It's just that the U.S. government doesn't look like it's likely to go away anytime soon. So Kanye West's coins or Bitcoins or Litecoins or Dogecoins, do those have any value? Well, only if we all agree. Could they go to zero? Absolutely. There's no government agency. In fact, one thing that could do very poorly for Bitcoin is if governments start banning it. The Chinese government has banned Bitcoin. They say the use of Bitcoin is illegal in China. When you have a central planned economy, of course, the idea of independent currencies could be very scary. So they've banned it. If the U.S. did the same thing, I don't think that's likely. But if for some reason the Federal Reserve said, you know, this Bitcoin could undermine our own currency, and the Congress passed a law against it, Bitcoin would go to zero. And if you'd invested, I wouldn't invest in Bitcoin. I wouldn't go out and buy Bitcoins at this point. That's crazy. Unless you can afford it and it's speculative. And so let's say you buy 10 Bitcoins at $10,000. If you can afford to lose $10,000, hey, it's possible those 10 Bitcoins will end up worth $400,000 if the Winklevoss twins have their way. It's also maybe even more possible they'll be worth nothing. It's interesting to watch. I don't know what it means. I really don't. Would I recommend investing in it? Absolutely not. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Padres really into Dogecoin. In fact, he did a whole show on doing generating Dogecoins. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, this whole thing about cryptocurrency is just so strange and so weird. And I don't, you know, you have to be an economist to understand it. And I don't even think that, I think they're just making it up, to be perfectly frank. It's very, very, very interesting. And I do believe that you as an individual can get in lots of trouble by thinking you understand it. Those are the fish that we all need in the to keep things going. Steve in Hermosa Beach, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Leo. Sure do enjoy listening to you and picking up some tips from you over the years, my friend.
Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry you're sick and heading to Vegas. That's a bad.
Oh, yeah, it is. I think I'm patient 0 this year.
Yeah, but it's made for some interesting listening on hold. Let's just put it that way.
Thank you. A lot of snorting and coughing going on.
You know what's funny is listening today, you brought up 2 questions that I was looking for an answer to based on your conversation. One of them should be short, the other one's a little longer.
Okay.
The first one is, my Carbonite subscription is about up, and I'm wondering if you have a coupon to renew.
I do.
I know you have
actually, that's a good question. I don't know. If you use Leo, if you'll get 14 months the second time around, I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's like new, you know, they say on new accounts, but I don't know. Call them up and say, hey, Leo said I get another 2 free months. See what happens.
I'm at the end of 3 years, and I'm renewing.
Wow, good for you. Do you like it? It's been. Have you ever had to use it? Is the question.
I had to use it about 2 days after I installed it.
Wow, that's a good thing.
It saved me when my regular backup software didn't. So yeah, no, I'm a big Carbonite user.
Right on, right on.
My other question is, I have a 47-inch Vizio LED screen that it's 3 years old now. It's been a great TV, but now something you said earlier made me want to call you. It works fine for about 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And then the color starts flaking out.
Ugh.
And if I turn the TV off for 10 minutes or so, it can come back for a little bit. And you mentioned something earlier about the LEDs heating up, and I'm wondering, you know, do I get this thing repaired for $300-400?
I wouldn't. I think you know, $600 you get a new one, right? It hardly seems worth repairing. I'm not sure. I've never seen that, but it does sound like it's a thermal condition. That is, as the TV is used, it warms up. Maybe there's a what we call a cold solder. This is a common problem in soldering, where the connection fails as it warms up. Something like that. I don't know. That would be my guess. But the problem is, okay, let's say it is a poor solder connection. Now some tech has to go through them all one by one. It's going to cost so much money. You're better off. These are disposable products. You're better off buying a new TV.
Okay. Not the answer I was hoping for.
Yeah,
but,
I don't think you can fix these things. But maybe you can. It just seems like it would cost so much that it would be cost prohibitive. This is the sad thing about modern electronics, as we've got some more and more surface mount stuff and stuff soldered on, and you know, it's just not. There's not. You used to go to the TV guy, right? Remember, you're old enough probably to remember. You go to the TV repair guy. He'd take a tube out, screw in a new tube, and it's all ready to go now.
Yeah, and he'd see another one that was in there and loose and go, well, let's just replace this one.
Exactly. Those days are long gone.
But yeah, exactly.
Solid state electronics.
I got the 240 hertz model, and someone thought that might be part of it. It's backlit, edge lit, or whatever. Are there any of the special features to stay away from on an LED? Or
all of them now will have this interpolation mode, 120 hertz, sometimes 240 hertz, where they add extra frames to handle the perceived problem that LCDs have with motion. I always just turn that off because it makes it look so plasticky, so video-y. I don't like it. I don't know of any of them that don't come with that. Maybe if they're really cheap, they don't. But they all come with that. And I don't think that causes problems. I just turn that mode off. So I don't think that's it.
What's been really funny is when I turned off the auto sensors, I get longer In other words, if the auto sensors are on, the picture craps out earlier. If with them off and me setting everything, it lasts longer.
I wonder if the auto. Well, that sounds like the auto sensors are the problem, doesn't it? You might, I don't know. I shouldn't say anything because I would find a Vizio repair depot and see if you can bring it in, and maybe it's something they go, oh yeah, we see this all the time. It's just this module here, and it's done. I don't know.
What you have to do is you call a company in Florida and they send someone out. Problem is they want about $200 just to come out.
That's the problem, isn't
So
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and and I look and see $600 TVs. I'm going, hey,
Yeah. That's really the problem. These are not, at this point, because the prices are so low and it's so difficult to repair these things, it just doesn't make sense. And it's true for computers, TVs, toasters, everything. Pretty soon it'll be cars. Need a tune-up? Just buy a new car. We don't do tune-ups. Flat tire, buy a new car. Yeah, we can't replace the tire. It's just a matter of time, isn't it?
That's classic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wish I had better news. It's not what you want to hear, I know, Steve. All right, what's the other question?
No. I want good TV. And the other thing, would LED, I have an LED. Is LED still the way to go, or is there another?
They're all LCDs. The older LCDs were backlit by fluorescent. That really isn't as good as backlighting them with LEDs. They last longer. That's much more even lighting. LED is still the way to go. There's nothing else. It's LCD, and it's just a question of whether it's LED or fluorescent backlit. I would say you'd probably be hard-pressed to find a fluorescent backlit LCD these days. So they call them LEDs, which is very confusing. It's not LED. It's an LCD.
Very good.
All right.
Hey, listen, man, I appreciate it. And just remember, if I don't call, I'm still listening.
That's what I want to hear. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Moving along to Blake in Salinas, California. Hi, Blake. Leo Laporte.
Hi. Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm good, Blake. How are you?
I'm okay. I got a TV question.
Okay, ask away. It seems to be TV day.
Yeah. Are DirecTV bills going up as part of a rate increase and the commitment is up soon? So I was just curious, what are the best options for switching or getting the bill down?
Well, probably DirecTV is still less than cable, I would guess, in your area. You should check, of course. Most people, that's the there's three choices. There's satellite, there's cable, or there's cutting the cord and doing it all over the internet. Who does your internet?
Internet, well, we have AT&T Uverse.
Good. All right. Uverse has TV as well. You might want to check and see.
So just kind of compare the three,
I think
right?
that's all you can do.
The Uverse.
Yeah, they're very similar in terms of offerings and so forth. The drawback to satellite is as far as full interactivity, video on demand and stuff like that, your cable providers and Uverse will do a better job of that because you have you really have a two-way connection with them. But I think ultimately the future for this, and I want to do a show about it, is called cord cutting. The idea that shouldn't everything be available by the internet? You know, I was very excited. We were talking earlier in the show that the playoffs and the Super Bowl are going to be available over the internet. Turns out you have to show them that you've already got a cable contract to do it. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week.
Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.